So there's a guy that said, listen, I'm a duck hunter. I've been a duck hunter my entire life. So when I die, I want my remains scattered in the marsh. Also, I will not be cremated. Hello and welcome to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. My name is Kyle.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Jeff.
Tom Kunse from the 100th District.
100th District of Michigan. So a lot of our viewership actually comes from Michigan for the podcast as well. And I wanted to have you in. And I'll start by saying we agree on almost everything. Actually, I haven't run into anything we don't agree on yet.
Give me time. Give me time.
Yeah.
We'll find something.
But with that said, today, and something for our viewership too, is like I may play devil's advocate a little bit more than I normally would, because typically I'm a pretty aggressive one-sider. But I'll just be like, what's the counter argument to that? Because we're going to talk about the Department of Natural Resources. We're going to talk about some bills that you have. We're going to talk about the possibility of license sale or license dollars being increased, meaning hunting licenses and fishing licenses going up. You got to have a wonderful meet and greet with Ted Nugent in the house with a bunch of people. So we have a lot of great topics, and I think we'll just dive right in. I've never done an introduction like this, but I felt like I even wore a suit coat.
I don't think you've ever worn a suit coat in the podcast. That's impressive.
I didn't tuck in my shirt. I didn't want to go too far.
He pulled out most of the stops.
And you've got a fresh bag of Boss shot shells now.
That is exciting.
A Michigan company right here, so I knew you had to. If you take up duck hunting, what kind of hunting do you do for our audience?
If you said pick one, which is always hardest to do, archery, deer.
Good for you.
If you said pick one, that'd be. Now I say that. I also rifle hunt, nothing bad about it, and I muzzle load, but deer is my passion. That's where I like to go. From there, I'd go, I love to walleye fish.
Okay.
And I'm not trolling on the bay, nothing against it. I have buddies, and I go, and if you want to limit out on walleye, that's a great way to do it. Put me on a little lake somewhere with a small aluminum boat.
Okay.
And goof.
Yeah.
I like that a lot, but a lot more social, a lot more fun. So.
Yeah.
Yep. So you like eating walleye and whitetail then?
Yes, sir.
We'll have to get you out. We have a walleye boat, which you probably saw when you pulled in, but we go on the Detroit River, and then we'll go out on Saginaw Bay here and there when you want to fill the freezer.
Right.
Right. When you want to fill the freezer. But I love doing the Detroit River and the St. Clair Rivers.
Yeah. Well, it's like you go in with a different attitude. You're like, all right, doe season. Here we go. I need 4 does today.
Yeah.
I mean, your mindset is different. So,
yeah.
What is your hunting situation? Where do you typically go?
I am so spoiled. So I'm a Clare kid. Grew up in Clare. We moved to Clare when I was 1. It's all I remember. My dad lives on a 100-acre farm. We live on a 100-acre farm. Yeah. So I mean, it's nice. And I don't even hunt on the 100 acres that I live on. So the neighbor kid comes over. My father-in-law is a veteran. He still hunts there. He's 83. He'll be 84 in December. So we make sure that he can. Hey, this is your hunting land. But yeah, so I go over to my dad's. There's 2 of us that hunt it. We're the only 2 that have hunted it for 30 years. I don't know if this is even legal or not. Since high school, this has always been our plan. We go out November 14th. We have dinner at my mom's house. Mm-hmm. Go to the bathroom. Walk out to the blind. So we go out because we're in a huge bedding area. So we sleep November 14th. We spend the night in the blind.
Oh, wow.
No kidding.
And we've done that for coming up on 40 years.
Man,
Okay.
Mr. Buddy Heater? Or?
Yeah, well, but we don't sleep with it on. I don't want to wake. I don't want to wake up dead. So we always warm it up, and then the next day. So yeah, we've done. It's just kind of neat. So
I'm glad that's what you said, because you could have said a lot of stuff just there. And
right.
I thought
maybe it's illegal, but
I don't want to wake up dead tomorrow.
No, I don't want to. Yeah, but I mean, so we've always gone guns not loaded, have a license.
Sure.
It's we go out at 10 o'clock at night. So clearly I'm not hunting, but.
Just because I wear a green jacket doesn't mean I'm the DNR.
That's fine. You know what? Yeah.
I can't imagine that's illegal.
No.
You're not hunting.
No.
I'm not hunting.
Guns
not loaded.
Literally sleeping.
Right. Yeah, I'm not camping. So we're on private property. Still wear orange. We do all that stuff, but
you couldn't make that illegal, because then you'd have to figure out what is the time
Correct.
cutoff.
Correct.
Because we go out at 4 or 5 in the morning.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And that's how it all started. We started going out. Man, I'm chasing deer away every time I go out. I'm chasing deer away, and somebody's like, "Hey, man,
Just sleep.
what do you go?" Okay. So we've done that. Yeah.
you got a pretty cool blind setup then.
We got a pretty guy. It doesn't have a full bathroom, but it's got a urinal. So,
Nice.
That's
right.
cool.
Because we'll go out,
PVC
like I said.
pipe to the ground, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir.
Is it your height or is it my height?
Yeah.
He's really tall.
There you
I don't
go.
know if you can gather that near. Yeah.
So,
but
so that'd be my one. If you said pick one, archery deer.
All right.
got it.
But
Got it. So do you? What about October 1st? Do you go out that morning too, or do you go out the night before too?
depending. So with my job, I'm in Lansing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay.
And what's kind of interesting is by state law, they could call the house. So they could, if I were to abscond from my duty, they could send the state police to get me.
Oh.
They will come get. I mean, they could. It'd have to be egregious.
Yeah.
But they could come get me and put me in my seat.
Wow.
That's pretty
And
funny.
you go, then I'm just going to vote no.
Well, but what's interesting is they can't make me vote.
Okay.
You can't make me vote.
Oh, wow.
Right. So it doesn't. But that would have to be. But they do show a video in new member training of the state police coming down the stands in a Tigers game, and they put a state representative in the car and they bring him to Lansing.
Well, you should you should do that because then you won't have to pay for gas or anything.
Well, but
It'd
I
be
don't
cheaper,
think
yeah.
I don't think they'll give you a ride home.
Oh, and the Uber's
yeah.
going to be crazy.
Right.
Yeah.
They're going to make
Yeah.
it hurt.
I said I couldn't come in because I was sick. I didn't say I was at home. Yeah, I'm at the Tigers game. I'm
Sure.
sick though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to get all you.
I
nice
came here
people
to
sick.
feel better.
Right. So, right. But and of course, we have members that get sick and there are things that come up, but you have to call and say, here's what I'm doing. It's not,
Right.
if you
guys
miss
don't
a day. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Somehow we ended on that off of archery hunting.
Right. How's that for you?
Yeah.
Welcome to politics.
So I asked if you did October 1st.
So October 1st, I'm in Lansing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah.
So I'm in. So
it
it's
fell on it this year.
It fell on it. Right. They just didn't make it. But November 15th is a Saturday. The good news is there's enough deer hunters. We get deer season off.
Nice.
Yeah. So November 15th off, even though it's on a Saturday this year. Yeah. But it was a funny story.
God bless them. They're still good in the world then.
There
That's
is.
awesome.
Clare High School. Matter of fact, all of the schools in my district get opening day off. I know it's on a Saturday, but if it was on a Monday,
Yeah.
get it off.
that's a
That's
thing.
cool.
Yeah. Well, if you don't have 75% of the students, that day doesn't count. You have to have so many. No,
Beat them into submission.
there's your trivia for the day. You have to have so many days of school. The Department of Education says you will have so many days of school, and if you don't have 75% of the population there, the student population, that day, forget it. Anybody there is upset. So they just don't have school that day. But
That's cool.
You're right.
That's
I
beautiful.
wish
Good
they
fun.
did that at ours.
Beautiful.
Yeah, good fun. So
speaking of getting police escorted into your job.
which has never happened, by the way.
Yeah.
May the record show.
Good for you.
Right. Thank you. You're doing great, sweetie. Yeah.
How common is it?
It hasn't happened in years.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
I would hope not.
Well, for sure. This is your job. You have to work 3 days. Mm-hmm. Come on.
Well,
Come
the
on.
other thing is you got elected to represent your people, and you're actually not doing it. How
Right.
far does that go up? What if the governor doesn't do anything? Or what if they did something crazy,
I don't-
opened up just their area where they wanted to be during COVID lockdowns for Traverse City or something like that? What if they did something egregious like that?
Yeah. I don't know. The governor runs the executive branch, and the state police answer to her.
Oh, so she can do what she wants.
I would be amazed if you could put your hands on the governor.
But she was missing for 2 weeks.
Right.
They wouldn't be like,
Right.
Get it
Come
done.
back.
Yeah.
But even when she goes to the budget was due and she goes to Japan, so she still has to answer to the public of
Why were you in Japan?
why are you in Japan?
why was she in Japan?
It was a trade. She's out. She didn't tell me, but
A trade as in
no. It's a trade.
They actually bring in one of their elected officials, and they run our government for 2 weeks, and she runs theirs. It's like
is it like automotive?
Leader swap.
Yes.
Automotive?
Yes. It's a trade. A trade is in buying and selling.
Yeah.
What I'm looking for. Yeah.
goods.
Goods. Yeah. But so it was more of a, hey, here's what we can do if you ship this country over to us.
Oh,
But
so she was there for business.
for business, absolutely.
Okay,
business.
okay,
Yeah.
that's
So the new Japanese prime minister is awesome. We'll take her. It's
it's the
Margaret
first
Thatcher.
female.
Yes, like Margaret
minister.
Thatcher. Yes.
That was interesting. I think it's funny how we're talking about the governor being in Japan, and we're like, well, what's she doing? As if she's not allowed to go on vacation.
Right.
Well, he's not.
So-
Yeah.
There you go. But I mean, it would be, we've had members, same thing. My daughter's getting married in Honolulu.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, let them know. Obviously, you're going to know months in advance. Do
Right.
that. You would have to miss weeks and weeks, and it would have to be egregious. But
Yeah.
they can
Yeah.
do that. Yeah.
That is something I would have never known.
No.
There you go.
I wanted to talk about So a good friend of ours, Ted Nugent, came into, was it the House?
It was the House, yes.
Yeah, and to talk about the Department of Natural Resources. So kind of jumping in with both feet here. But number one, I want to know what that was like for you. And number two, I want to know about the sidearm stuff.
Oh, well, there you go. It's all public, so we can. Yeah. So, Uncle Ted, I think very highly of him. And it was an event. It was theater. It was a spectacle. So literally across the street from the Capitol, we have kind of a meeting house. And, Uncle Ted comes in, we're having lunch. He's signing autographs, getting pictures with people. Yeah, what do you need,
Hello.
It really is. And somebody brings out the, Ted Nugent for President bumper stickers. He's autographing. I mean, just very welcoming, not standoffish at all.
No.
How you doing? I mean, he's sitting at a table. I think we were eating walleye.
Yeah.
I don't even, so that was just incredible welcome. So there is a public entrance to the Capitol. Well, there's also a legislative entrance to the Capitol. So we get our badge out, and like half a dozen of us, we're walking in. We badge in, and there's a weapons detector there. It's not a metal detector. It's a weapons detector. Sometimes my Leatherman sets it off, and sometimes it doesn't. So I don't feel real good about it. But we carry. As a legislator, I carry in the Capitol. I mean, we live in a crazy world.
Yep.
First of all, we have incredible people there working security. So I am not complaining about the people there at all. But when I walk out of the Capitol, I have to walk into a parking structure.
Right.
So a lot of us carry. So 5 or 6 of us walk in, all of us carrying. Didn't think anything of it. Of course, the metal detector's going off. We got badges. How are you, officer? You doing good today? Everybody's going good. Oh, Mr. Nugent, how are you? Big fan, So he walks in, and we go to the right. Walk in, we go to the committee room. So sit down. And it was a joint committee, a weaponization of government. It was an oversight committee. So it was a 2 committee. It was in a bigger room. And, Ted sits down, and he's looking up at a rostrum, half a dozen. One thing that Lansing does really well is pageantry.
Really?
For sure. That's one of the things.
Hunger Games up in there.
Right. Yeah. Right. Exactly. So, I mean, you're sitting at this table, but clearly they put the rostrum up, and there's people sitting up there. It might have even been 2 rows deep. And Uncle Ted stands up. I've never seen this before. Turns away from the legislature that he's testifying to. There's a dozen state reps up there. Turns around, and he's talking to the crowd.
Yep. He doesn't care about them.
He's talking to the people. Mm-hmm. And he's talking about this egregious example. A kid got dinged. He didn't have his bow case zipped up. And, some of he's going over these examples, Well, in his, and I can't talk without moving my hands. In his animation, he's doing this. One of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle sees that he is carrying a sidearm.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's a deputy sheriff, though.
But he wasn't on duty.
Right.
So you have to be from Lake County, which I represent.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You have to be in uniform on duty to carry in the Capitol, or a legislator. Well, of course, we have a bunch of security there, so you can kind of watch it. Pretty soon they lean over and they're pointing at him. The state police handled it really well. They come in, to an aside, trying to, Mr. Nugent, do you have a sidearm on? And he's like, of course I do.
Yeah.
Of course.
I can only imagine.
Yeah.
You've got 2. He's got 1. He's got 1. You can't do that. So you can either, give me your sidearm, or we have to escort you from the building. And he's like, well, you're not I'm not giving you my gun. Yeah. That's not an option. Same thing. Hey, not a problem. But they were very discreet about it. They didn't, stop the hearing.
Yeah.
So they handled it really well. There was a little bit of brushback. Of course, everybody wants to make a big deal about this.
Yeah.
There's
both sides.
Of course.
Both
there's
sides.
110 representatives at any point, and I'm guessing, I don't know, it's concealed carry, but at any point there's 40 sidearms.
Oh, wow. That many?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And you draw your own conclusion, but the House is divided, red and blue. One side has got substantially more.
Yeah.
Okay, enough said.
Are there any on the other side that you know of?
There are.
That's how they get all their votes passed. No,
right. I made him an offer. He couldn't refuse. Yeah. So, there are. So, the same thing. The House is just about evenly divided between male and female. Well, it's the same thing. We work late. We walk out of the Capitol, and we have to walk over into a parking structure. Well, the great equalizer, my advice to you is, absolutely you should carry.
Yeah.
And if I'm a 110-pound woman walking over the parking structure,
Jeez.
I'm going to have my hand in my purse. Absolutely. Or I'm going to walk, the 4 of us are going to walk over there.
Right.
So
you should not be unarmed and helpless.
correct. I've never asked. Yes, there are some, but it's not as prevalent.
Yeah.
You know, but it's the same thing. We're kind of gathering what the form. So anyways, they did. Mr. Nugent, you have to leave the building, you know, do this. Then when he came back in, everything was fine. But they handled it well.
So he came back in without it.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So, and it was just one of those, you know, everything's on. You are on camera 100% of the time in the Capitol. 5 or 6 of us walk in. Of course it's going off. And we all have our badges. And it was just one of those,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, so that's how he got through.
Right.
It was like, all of us, of course, have it.
Of course we are.
Yeah.
Right. And
Got it.
they know us. They recognize we're there every day. Yeah. We all have our badges.
That's
and
interesting.
we didn't go through the public entrance. We went through the legislative entrance. Obviously, he's with me.
Yeah.
So.
And he's Ted Nugent.
Yeah. Right. So.
That's interesting. Yeah. So once he was in there actually testifying, like you said, he was talking to the people, getting more into the meat of what he was saying. What's your feedback on what he was saying? But also, like, what was the overall, like, if you took a tally of the room, what is the tally of people that are like, thank gosh he said it? And what is the tally that they're like, this guy's crazy?
You know, everybody. So all of the meetings are public. They're public meetings, open to everyone. You don't have to, like, when you come to the Capitol to go to a meeting, to go watch the House, you don't have to show ID or anything. There's no tickets. There's no ID. You can come in and watch, and it should be that way. Absolutely, it's open. You should come see how your representative and your senators vote.
No question.
Absolutely. I wish more people would do it. When word gets out that we're having a joint committee meeting with Ted Nugent, right? You know, so of course the room is full.
That's awesome, though.
It's so the room tends not to be full.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
no one cares until Ted Nugent shows up.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. So Representative Martin is just to the east of us here, and he runs Natural Resources Committee. So there's, forgive me, 10 or 12 members on the committee, and there might be 10 or 12 people in the audience. Just not a lot of people gone. Well, in this committee, it was Department of Natural Resources and Weaponization of State Government. That's one of the oversight committees. And what's interesting is the oversight committee has subpoena power. So we always start being polite. We'd like you to come testify. I have questions about this. Can you come help us? You know, but there have been subpoenas. The Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, the DHHS. There was some egregious violations of child welfare. We're not getting answers. I'm no longer asking you. I'm going to send you a subpoena.
Wow.
You shall, and that's how it reads. You shall, you know, just like a judge. So we have subpoena power.
Just to keep from mixing anything up.
Just so we're not confused. You know, just so we're not confused. You know, now everybody's due process. You, of course, you can bring your attorney, whatever you need to do there. But the room was full. I don't know, 50 people.
Okay.
I didn't, you know, the room was full, but it was overwhelmingly supportive. Overwhelming.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
You know, and it was a
Do
little
you think
bit.
it was partially the star power, or is this like, they're like, finally?
Well, and again, it's the weaponization of state government. Here we're talking about DNR overreach.
Literally, yeah.
Right. This is the topic. This is what's on the agenda. So you know what you're getting into. But there is the star power. Uncle Ted is an entertainer. I mean, he gets up. But it was interesting because, like I said, here's this rostrum of the people, and we're all up there. We have our suits and ties on, and you know we're being very official and representative and yes. He gets up, turns his back. I've never seen. First of all, it's very rare for a person to testify and to stand up.
Yeah, he's
Well,
got to
that's-
stand.
But not only, then he turns 180 degrees and he's talking to the people. I'm like, there you go. And at some point they finally, you know, they gavel in, Mr. Nugent, would you please address the chair?
Yeah,
You know, they bring him back in. They gave him some rope, but
He goes, who?
Yeah.
who?
It's getting a little colder. Did he have sleeves?
Oh my
He
gosh.
normally is
I think he
sleepless.
was wearing like a flannel.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Gosh, I am
He dressed up.
I am
He normally is wearing a camo
terrible at-
sleeveless.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I had for breakfast, so I'm like, I don't what someone was wearing. Yeah.
He's got a nice black shirt that makes a rotation for big interviews.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
Right.
He knows how to. He knows, but he is an entertainer. But he also makes a lot of points.
Oh,
And
for sure.
Sure.
We were blessed actually. I met him the first time. It was closing in on 7 or 8 years ago in South Dakota at his Camp for Kids, which is a nonprofit, and basically they give kids a world-class experience, and of course he's there entertaining them as well, but they're learning how to hunt and fish and shoot and gun safety and
Yes, and the whole cycle of life. And here's where this comes from. Yeah.
And it's beautiful. And so we were there in South Dakota with him, and I got the opportunity to talk to him. It was supposed to be about 15 minutes, and I remember he said,
2 hours later.
He said, "Yep." Yeah. He said to Ryan, "He goes, start rolling." The first words he ever said to Ryan was, "Start rolling," and it's funny. Just
and then he gave us an insane pep talk on guerrilla filming.
Oh yeah,
right, right. I mean, this double live Gonzo all the time.
Yeah.
And but we interviewed him there, and then since then, it's probably not too many weeks go by where we don't talk, even if it's just via text message or whatever. And I will say this, from personal phone calls where I was like, "Hey, Uncle Ted, I'm having trouble with my bow. What do you think of this?" to, "Hey, we're gonna have Tom on the podcast. Anything that you think we should hit on?" By the way, he wants to have you on his, so we can book that before you leave with his secretary.
Right.
But
let's do it in South Dakota.
Yeah, it was in South Dakota.
South Dakota.
Yankton, South Dakota.
Let's do it in South Dakota.
Yeah, you want to go pheasant hunting, do you?
Sure.
Yeah. While we're there,
right?
He's in Michigan right now.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, regardless of the topic, regardless of the conversation, regardless of whether it's a deep personal matter or a spiritual matter or a hunting matter or whatever, he's the same person all the time, and I've always really looked up to him for that because he is who he is, and he means what he says. And in a world, especially in politics, where that isn't always the case, it's just a beautiful thing.
Yep.
Like, I've always really looked up to him as like, I want to say what I think, regardless of what other people are going to say, and I'm going to stick with it, unless proven otherwise. And then I'll be happy to say I was wrong and switch.
Right. If you can help me get to right. If I'm wrong, I make mistakes every day. And if you can help me get to right, that's a compliment. So, and again, double live Gonzo. I think sometimes Ted comes out and people are like, whoa. But I think he comes at it with love in his heart.
Oh my gosh.
This is passion. Wait a minute. This is a God-given right, and we shouldn't interfere with it. So I think some people come out mean. They come out angry, and Ted's just like, wow, hey, this guy's bringing it. I love it. Fully caffeinated. Okay, let's go, boys. If we're going, we're going. But I do think he comes with love in his heart to do this. So
and from a clean, a lot of people don't know this, and I live the same lifestyle. No alcohol, no drugs.
Right.
No, nothing bad except maybe a little caffeine here and there. Actually, quite a bit of caffeine. I should probably dial that in. But that's the only drug that I'll allow. And I think that that's a perfect example for kids, and obviously speaking your mind. The Greenway Outdoors is brought to you by Ram Trucks. Nothing stops Ram. And by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Onyx Hunt. Know where you stand with the #1 hunting app. Savage Arms. Where better comes standard. Boss Shot Shells. Premium grade and American made. Nosler Ammunition. A step above the rest. And by Carlson's Choke Tubes. The only choke tube we've ever used. Follow the Greenway Outdoors on all social platforms for our weekly podcast, vlogs, how-tos, merch, and more. Powered by Dynamo CX.
Americans, we can do anything we want. Except one thing. We just can't stop being American. Because since that revolution they said we'd lose, we just couldn't choose to stop being American. We put Hemi V8s back on the strip and pack 8 layers in a 7-layer dip. We're body slams and blue suede shoes, rock and roll, jazz and blues. Rockin' mullets and Rat Pack suits, even our grandmas have tattoos. We're NASCAR, rock stars, rodeo, monster trucks and power boats. Welcome to our epic show. Keep winning on Sunday, move horsepower Monday, shake the earth and carve terrain, rock the anthem like Kenny Wayne. So get out there, take your swings, burn rubber after the American dream. Rev your engines and let freedom ring. And never, ever, ever stop being American. Nothing stops America, and nothing stops Ram.
It starts before the sun, before the frost, before the first leaf falls. The season's here. Are you ready? At Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, we have the widest selection of the quality brands you love that get you outdoors. Whether you're an avid hunter or just starting out, Our friendly, knowledgeable outfitters will help you find the right products for your next trip. Plus, club members save even more on great gear with exclusive member pricing. Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, voted America's best outdoor retailer.
This isn't your Grandpa Savage. He had his time, his tools. But times change, and so did we. Innovation, tech, and power. That's the heartbeat of our new lineup. This is not your Grandpa Savage. This is your Savage. One you'll tell stories about.
Jumping into that, the first, so when Ted was at the house, he was talking about the Department of Natural Resources overreach. One of the examples that you talked about was a boy, we'll say, I don't know exactly how old he was, but based on what he was saying, I got the 16 to 18 range.
Yes.
And he didn't have his bow case zipped up all the way in his side-by-side or in his truck, and he gets a ticket for that. And the thing is, too, like, tickets with the Department of Natural Resources, like, it's a misdemeanor, a lot of them.
Oh.
You know, it's important. Like, that's not a joke.
Right.
Like, a misdemeanor is kind of a big deal.
It'll be on your record.
Yeah, regardless of the word sounds less intense than it is, but a misdemeanor is kind of a big deal. You're going to get a call from a bunch of lawyers hoping to get your case.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a lot of laws that are currently in place that don't make any sense whatsoever to anyone who's actually in the field. And I want to start by saying this. I want to love the DNR. I want to like the DNR.
Tough job. Tough job.
If you talk to me at any point in time over the last 11 years of us doing this show, 11 years, I would have said my goal in life is to replace the 60% of hunting and fishing licenses that are sold to white males over the age of 55 before they quit hunting, because the funding we need for the natural resources will go away. I would have told you that's my life's mission, is to help fund the DNR. Okay?
On a sustainable basis.
So imagine how upset I am when they let me down with laws that don't make sense and they operate like a police force. There was a group in Idaho. So we've actually had the distinct honor of working with 40 Department of Natural Resources across the country. Fish and Game, you know, whatever they call them in different states. Yeah. And I'm talking interviews, on the ground work.
International, too.
Yeah. I have a very unique set of experiences that almost nobody else has working with these different Department of Natural Resources. And one time we were ice fishing in Idaho with a gentleman who, I've said this a million times, his name's Brett High. He's a fish biologist in Idaho. And I'll never forget, there was people coming down. We were interviewing when we first met him. There's people walking down to the lake. We're at Henry's Lake, it was called. And they were walking down. And I said, oh, and he saw him like he was going to go talk to him. And I said, oh, you got to go check their licenses? He goes, no.
Right.
No,
right.
He wanted to see what they were going out for so he could help them, because he's like, you know what, go over there, watch the ice over here. It's a little not dangerous. People were coming in off the ice. Like, hey, Brett, they come over and show him what they got. They were so excited to see him.
Right.
And then that went on for weeks, right? Like, so all these wonderful interactions are continuing to happen. And then I get to learn more about how Idaho runs their fishing game. And this is a principle that they have in place. They sent out a survey. If you bought a hunting and fishing license, they go, here's the 50 things we could work on that would benefit the state. Put them in order of what's important to you.
Wow.
And then, based on that survey knowledge, that's what we'll work on. So what people cared about most that year, this is a few years ago now, in Idaho, was they wanted native cutthroat trout to survive, because they're interbreeding with rainbow trout. So there's like barely any pure strains left. So the Department of Natural Resources, that was the number one concern. So they're like, okay, so we're going to work on electroshocking rainbow trout, removing them from waters where they would interbreed with the cutthroat trout. We're going to put stockpiles of cutthroat trout in mountain lakes that are fishless, so that should something go wrong with the rivers,
we got Plan B, yeah.
Exactly, and C and D. And
yeah.
So that's the projects they work on. So the relationship between the biologists and the Department of Natural or the Fish and Game there and the people is so beautiful and so amazing, it would baffle you. Yeah. And then so I said to him, I was like, why do you think, so I started giving him some of the laws in Michigan, the bow case example, the fact that we can't hunt doves. I walked him through the whole sandhill crane debacle, which we'll get into all this. And he goes, he looks up from his ice fishing hole and he looks at me, he goes, there are two kinds of fishing games or Department of Natural Resources across the country. And what you're describing is a police force one. There's either biology-driven or police force-driven. It's one or the other. And when you have laws that don't make any sense from a scientific standpoint, laws that don't make any sense that don't help the people, but you have tons of laws that don't make any sense that are gotcha laws,
right? Then
you know you're running under a police force setup. And keep in mind, I support the police 100%.
Guaranteed.
So I'm not saying anything against police. What I am saying though is that the Department of Natural Resources was never meant to be a police force. They were never meant to be the green military. So because of that, you have this beautiful relationship in Idaho because people are like, well, the Fish and Game and the DNR are never going to get along with the people. I'm sorry, maybe because you've only lived in Michigan, but that's not the case in other states. Like, there's states, it doesn't always have to be New Jersey and Michigan. Like, there are good relationship-driven, there's good relationships between the people and the Department of Natural Resources. So then we come to Michigan, and I said there's laws that don't make sense. And there's different funnels to why these laws are in place. So I understand that. But we don't have a dove season in the state. If for some reason my bow case is a little bit unzipped and I'm riding around in a side-by-side, I'm getting a ticket. If I set my shotgun down on the tailgate and it's loaded and I'm having a drink of water and a sandwich in the middle of my hunt, I'm going to get a ticket. They're writing permits to gas chamber geese, which I got stopped, by the way.
I heard that. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, that can't be true.
I did a...
It is.
Who's
it's
their
true.
PR guy?
What is that? It can't be true.
They're writing permits to people to round up geese by the 100. It's got to be at least 100, and they're gas chambering them. And then I had a biologist from the DNR come in, the waterfowl biologist, and talk to me because I did an interview on CBS News. Across all the platforms, all the places it got shared, it did 2.4 million views, and they had thousands of people call in pissed about it.
Sure.
And so, of course, they have to overturn it and say, okay, we won't do it. But they came in and defended it to me. So, meanwhile, I go, hold on a second. If I'm a hunter and I go out goose hunting and I have 4 shells in my gun, I'm in handcuffs, okay? Okay, if I go out in goose season and the limit's 5 and I take 6, I'm in big trouble. But you're gas chambering them? Look, who are you?
Yeah.
And that's where it becomes, and they're like, well, you couldn't hunt them there anyways. Well, then everything in your power should be trying to figure out how to fix the real problem. It's like when people talk about gun control, they're like, well, ban the guns. That doesn't actually solve the problem. Okay, so we know that isn't the right answer. So what is the right answer in this situation is to find a way to work together with privately owned people, work together on the laws to make it so people can hunt in these areas that otherwise they couldn't when it's safe. Like, for instance, the example I used was my uncle was a superintendent of a golf course, privately owned, everything like that. But they had a huge goose problem. He goes, we're closed, obviously, like January through March, come out and kill a bunch of geese. The city ordinances don't allow me to.
Right.
But it's private land. It wouldn't be unsafe. There's plenty of room. A golf course is huge.
Right.
And I could have harvested geese to help solve their goose problem and cut those numbers down, but I can't. So that's the real problem. But a lot of times people want to throw an answer at something because they just want it to be solved, but they don't think. And I think what the problem with like the goose gas chambering is like they're so focused on just solving the problem that they lose their humanity. And gas chambering geese, and then, by the way, they weren't consuming it or donating meat. They were throwing it in the landfill.
Would you eat the meat? I wouldn't eat it.
Well, actually, it was because it was carbon dioxide. Is that right?
Oh.
You could have.
Okay.
But even so, it's like they were throwing it on the landfill. And they're like, well, we're hoping eventually. So I said to her, you're going to get up to heaven one day. And you're writing permits for people to gas chamber geese and then waste the meat. And that's a resource God gave us. You're going to have to answer for that.
You're going to be judged on this.
You're going to be judged. And then they're like, well, we got to solve the problem. It's like, at what if God's going to look down on you for it, then you better not solve it that way.
Right.
You better figure out something else. Another issue is sandhill cranes. So in the state of Michigan, you can't sandhill crane hunt. A big argument for that is because the sandhill cranes look like another species similar to that's endangered. So they don't want us to shoot them here, even though you can in other states. However, because they don't want hunters mixing them up. However, farmers, there's so many of these things, by the way. There's so many sandhill cranes that farmers are allowed to get kill permits to kill them, but they have to burn the body because they don't want you eating them. They don't want you getting a loophole in to actually utilize the meat. Again, I say to you, you have to go to heaven. We all have to meet our maker. We have to answer for that. Yes, I shot this beautiful critter that is called the ribeye of the sky, and I burned the meat because the government told me so.
Right. I was just following orders.
I was just following orders.
I've heard that somewhere. That's not right. That's not a thank you for getting that.
I believe it was Germany.
Yes, it was. It was. I'm like that. You can't say that. Right. Morally, that is wrong.
Right. So I think that I have a big problem, and this is where I immediately cut the audience, is I have a problem with the bait ban as well. The reason why I have the problem with the bait ban is the Department of Natural Resources just announced, too, that we're losing hunters like crazy.
Right.
You know?
Yes, we are.
By the tens of thousands, we're losing them. And I would say that while it's not the DNR's fault completely, I would say that the laws that make no sense, that kid that got a ticket for having his bow case unzipped.
Right.
We hear about them gas chambering geese, but if you have 6 geese, you're in big trouble. You know, these types of ridiculous laws, and some of them hard to follow. Some of the fishing regulations, which ducks you can shoot, how this works, shooting light times, there's so many different things that you can and can't do. You feel like you're like this all the time. And then the bait ban being put in place, the idea that they said was because of CWD. I'm not going to open the CWD box today. All I'm going to say is this. Is that the fact that we're losing hunters by the thousands, and less people are interested in it, and it's not just the DNR, it's also cell phones, it's also people not want to be outside, it's not the next generation teaching the following generation. There's a lot of issues that lead up to this, but at the same time, hunters are getting less and less interested. A lot of our license sales comes from whitetail tags, deer hunters.
Yes.
And this is a decent representation for a lot of hunters in the state that make up a giant majority of our sales. They have 3 or 4 days a year that they can get off to go deer hunting specifically. Normally it's on November 15th. They kind of plan it around that week, and they might have a full week off, some of them. They go up to their 10, 20, 30, 40, or 100 acres where you sleep in. They go up to their property. They make it as appealing as possible to the whitetail. Most of the people from here down actually just hunt farm fields.
Yep.
And that's where the deer are, so they're baiting.
Yeah.
And then what you're doing is you're making it illegal for people to go out and put bait now. So if they go up to their property that they've got 10 or 20 acres in, say where I hunt is Mesick, Michigan, it's an antler point restriction zone now. So the buck has to have at least 3 or 4 points on one side. On top of that, now they can't bait. Okay? So now they go up and they don't see anything. Or they only see one, or they don't see enough, or they don't see this or that. They don't buy a license next year. And people are like, well, that's not a real hunter. I'm sorry to tell you, we need their funding too, obviously.
Right. It's got to be a big tent.
Yep.
It's got to be everybody.
Yep. And everybody should support everybody.
And in Michigan, that was probably a lot of the funding. If you go back and look at the numbers, is those opening weekend warriors.
Yeah.
Right.
And
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, historically, you look at like the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s that built the deer herd to what it is now with the license sales back then. It was the guy that did exactly what I just described, and it was a beautiful thing. We did a youth camp the one year. We had 13 kids up there. When we were allowed to bait, we harvested 12 deer. Now, we have about 400 and something acres up there, but we can't. It's like 20 here, 30 there. So you've got one group here, one in this blind, one in that blind, and you say stay put. You don't want people roaming around. Stay put. This is where you're shooting, blah, 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 blah. So we do a youth hunt. 12 kids out of the 13 harvested deer, and that 13th kid had plenty of opportunity.
I've missed.
Yeah.
I've missed before.
Yeah.
Sure.
So anyhow, we do that. Following year, they all come up again, but the bait ban goes into place. We can't bait. 2 kids saw deer. Now, they have to sit in those blinds.
Right.
I can't take them on a backpacking journey through the Manistee National Forest, right?
Right.
So and people go, well, they're not real hunters. What are you talking about?
Right. That is so disappointing to me. I'm against antler point restrictions. Now, we shoot 8s or bigger or a wounded deer. That's kind of what we've done on our farm, and all the neighbors do it, and we see nice deer. We have nice deer there.
Yeah.
Right. Same thing. Guy's working the line in Motor City, Michigan, and he's got a weekend off, or he brings his kid up with him, and he sees a spike and he wants to shoot it. My man, shoot the deer.
Yep.
That is
Yeah.
your, and I'm going to be proud of. I'm going to like that when I see it on Facebook.
Yep.
Good for you. So I'm
Don't go in the comment section.
well,
and that's what's sad.
That's what's sad, right? But I'm thinking this guy might have a day or two. His kid might have a day or two. Man, you right.
Not to mention science backs up no antler point restrictions because one of the issues that we have now is we call them Frankensteins up where we up where we are. We've got a lot of spikes that are 3 and 4 years old.
Right.
So they're just genetically they're just continuing to reproduce, and now the genetic pool, and it's a messed up on one side spike, so we all know it when we see it.
Yeah.
And we see them every year. And
Palmated palmated or something?
How would you describe it? Ugly?
It'll have like a drop tine or
okay.
but it'll have it'll nice on one side and then just a spike on the other.
Sure.
Or like a little fork and it's like twisted weird.
But a lot of times these deer end up it'll be really thick on one side and then a fork on the other side. That's not enough for us to shoot it up there in the antler point restriction zone. So we can't shoot that deer. So it's going to continually reproduce. And that's the truth behind it is like you're protecting bad genetics with APRs, period.
Right.
And
I'm a little bit more flexible if, hey, your second deer needs to be a 3 on one side.
Which was the
your
case.
Your second buck.
Which was the case. I think it was 4 on one side.
Yeah, this second, right. That's been that for yeah, okay. I could see the logic behind that. But it's the same thing. If a guy comes up, hey, my wife and I, we're empty nesters. My wife and I will eat 2 or 3 deer a year. Now, fortunately, I could literally shoot deer off my back deck. But a lot of people can't. Same thing. Man, if you get up and I think you should be able to do what you want.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to take a kid out.
Right.
Like
or an elderly person.
We're trying to get him started.
Right.
Don't cut him off at the knees right when he's starting.
Right.
And not to mention the fact that it doesn't it almost highlights and encourages people to be into hunting not for the meat. Like it's such a heavy focus on the trophy.
Right.
I'm not saying that look at, I mean, this is my biggest deer ever right here. I'm very proud of it and it's awesome, and that's why it's sitting right here, because it was my biggest deer ever. It is a trophy and I am grateful for it.
For sure.
However, at the same time, like the meat is very important, and I just think that the antler point restrictions protect bad genetics, and I think they encourage kind of the wrong form of thinking. And if you really wanted to help the Michigan buck program, to me the better thing would be is restrict it to 1 buck and then encourage people to start harvesting does, because it's the doe problem that we actually have in the state. So you'd actually knock out 2 birds with 1 stone by encouraging, or an earn a buck program or something like that. I think would be much more beneficial to the state to genuinely help increase our trophyhood, but also help the deer herd and not alienate people. I think that's the answer.
Right. I like the earn a buck. I like the 1 buck rule.
And I the other thing I think the government remaining out of the APR situation is you'll have more people behaving like as you do, where it's like we don't shoot anything under 8 points.
Right.
It becomes like herd mentality where everyone's like, yeah, we just don't do that.
Right.
Let me ask you something though. If you saw a buck walking in and it was limping really bad,
wounded deer, different, right?
And it's a spike, you're gonna shoot it.
Of course, put it down.
You better not in the APR zone. And that it's like, what are we talking about then?
Right.
That's weird.
Right. Well, now you're forcing me to
be immoral.
Right. Here's an animal that is suffering. Don't know if it's going to make it, so we're going to waste it.
Right.
I would rather tag it and So
and you're asking me to be immoral.
Correct.
By a law.
Right.
And that doesn't. So, yeah, I'm glad we talked about APR because that wasn't the plan. Not to mention the fact that the bait ban also creates an abnormal relationship between the people and the Department of Natural Resources, because 50% of hunters are still baiting regardless of the bait ban, let's say.
You see them still buying that. They're not making
Every
apple pies with the apples from the gas station, okay?
Right. There's still piles of sugar beets at the thing. And what's funny is we used to start baiting January 1st after deer season. So I'd put hay and I'd put something they had to eat through to get it. I'd carry them through the winter. Especially if it was a hard winter, I might feed them through March. We're going to have a bale of hays out there, shelled corn, something
you
they
have to be very consistent.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely. But we do it because we could watch them from our house. So this was something, hey, we'd go out. I used to have a feeder. It'd come on all the time. It was like, can't do that anymore. So absolutely more deer are not making it through the winter.
Right.
Yeah, we'll be the bedding area for.
We're in Maine, and while we were there, our friend Chuck, he actually got all the permits and stuff to be able to feed through the winters there. They don't have the deer numbers that we do, that's for sure. They're struggling. They're like the UP.
Oh.
So they're struggling big time. So they actually feed through the winter to keep the deer alive. He said, if I miss a single day, I have to stop for the whole winter, because what happens with a deer, if you're feeding them through the winter, they like start to be able to digest that food, and then it carries them through the winter. But if they take a day or two off, then the deer loses the ability to digest the food that they can the rest of the year, because it's so cold out. Their body goes into like this ketosis. I don't even know what you would call it, but it goes into this trance where then if they, like, let's say they didn't eat carrots for a week or corn or whatever, then they tried to eat it, they would eat it, it would kill them.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to be very consistent if you feed through the winter. I'm not telling people to feed through the winter in Michigan, because right now it is illegal, but that is something that...
Yeah, I don't know the biology behind that. Okay.
Yeah, you have to be...
He said that deer come from, like, some crazy...
Oh, yeah.
40 miles or something.
They did a study on his deer, right?
Yeah.
And then they disperse in the
like
spring.
hard winters. They have lack of food.
They know to come there to get their food.
Wasn't it Humboldt that used to feed them up in the UP? What were the deer yards there? And it'd be the same thing. That was a thing, and the town would do it, and they'd feed them all. You know, don't do it anymore. Every day. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't miss a single day, or they gotta have access to it every day.
Yeah. Right.
But anyhow, jumping back in, I want to say that to protect you too, to make sure that people knew you were doing it the right way.
Correct.
But
and we don't do it
when
anymore.
You had done it.
Right. We don't do it anymore.
Don't come get me.
No.
I'll go to work.
Right.
So you have all these laws that don't make a lot of sense, and there's a lot of people that don't think they make sense, and you have a lot of people that kind of acting as gatekeepers to the majority, and the majority feels a certain way, and I bet that's why Ted Nugent turned around and talked to the people and said, because he knew that this happens.
And that was unscripted.
Of course it was. You can't script him.
No,
you cannot.
Right.
You didn't even. He's never scripted a thing in his life.
Right.
The only script he knows are the songs he wrote.
Right.
But anyhow, with that, you have this. So we approach a new thing, and why are we talking about the Department of Natural Resources? My goal is not to just shit on them this entire podcast.
No.
Quite the opposite, actually, because my intention has been to actually want to help them my entire life. Sell more hunting and fishing licenses, get the next youth involved, because if 60% are sold to white males of the age of 55, it's a matter of time before 60% of the funding is gone. They can't go without that. If that happens, then all of our species sustainability efforts, our anti-poaching efforts, all the fish stocking efforts, all the things that our national parks, our forests, the things I genuinely care about, they'll go too. Here's the problem, though. When they do things where they act like a police force as opposed to a biology group meant to help us, that's where things get really hairy. And that's what Ted was preaching about and talking about, and you should look it up if you want to. The Greenway Outdoors is brought to you by Ram Trucks. Nothing stops Ram. And by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. LEM Game Processing Equipment. Wilderness Athlete. Fuel for the rugged. Sea-Doo. Live the Sea-Doo life. Rufus Teague. Seasoning, sauces, and snacks. Trigicon. Brilliant aiming solutions. Skidoo. Experience that Skidoo feeling. Summit Tree Stands. Hunting elevated. And Blokes. Modern men's health. But now we come to a crossroads. And I'd like to get your opinion on it, and then I'll give my opinion on it. We've now entered a new phase where there's talk of them wanting to increase their budget. I want to say it's upwards of $20 million.
Yep, that's the number they throw around, correct?
Roughly $20 million.
Came out of the Senate.
And they want to raise our licenses, like the cost of our deer licenses, our fishing licenses, that sort of thing. And from what I am seeing, like in the hunting community, I'm seeing everyone major against it. But what are your thoughts? Because you're kind of feet on the street with all this stuff.
Right. And like anything in life, there's no, do I like new taxes? No. Do I want to raise fees? No. Do I want people to hunt? Absolutely. What can we do to get more people hunting?
That should always be the first question.
Right. The last time the license fees were raised was 2014, I believe.
Okay.
Everything costs more since 2014.
Yeah.
Well, this is the efficiency of government. Now they have to come to the legislature. The DNR can raise the rates, like at a campground. We're going to sell Snickers for $2 this year. They can do things like that. And I believe in the state parks, they can do camping fees.
My money. No,
right. Well, that's fine. But it's one of those, if you don't want to go to state park, because, but the DNR controls that. They do not need our permission to do that. Hunting fees, they absolutely do. Well, it's hard to get that through because nobody wants to vote for a fee increase. They do some good things. I liked the part of, I think doe licenses were $5. Mm-hmm. They were going to make that $5. Great. And I like the idea there. I like the idea that they're still going to stock the fish. Mm-hmm. These are good. They do a lot of good things. When I have my conversations with the DNR, we started off the year with the 400 acres in Roscommon County for the solar field. That was a little bit contentious. Hold on. Let's reset on that. We'll get into that. I understand. The reason I bring it up is because it was revenue. They said we have to have the revenue. Now, Claire's kind of an interesting bit. We have the rail trail, and they use that example. Well, it's our job to take care of the rail trail. And there's no revenue. There's no bike license. There's no hiking license, and there's not going to be. Now a lot of people are kayaking and paddleboarding. Great. I love it. I love people. I have done the Muskegon, right out of Houghton Lake, do it all. But there's no canoe license. If it's not motorized, there's no fee on that. We tried that for a few years, maybe before you were born.
I don't know of it.
It used to be you if it floated, you bought a license.
I've seen on old canoes like remnants of stickers.
Correct. And that's what I mean. And that's what they were trying to do. And I understand that. Okay, so now I'm canoeing on the Muskegon River. Yes, it is your job. Do you have your life jacket? Don't litter? It's your job to enforce these rules. There's no revenue from that. I hear what you're saying. I understand that. And those are valid points. I come back and say, wait a minute. How much have you spent suing the pig farmers in the UP? Wait a minute. You're going after things that you shouldn't have to. I call it lawfare, not warfare, lawfare.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And it's the question of, hey, I might not be able to beat you. I might not win the case, but this has been going on for like 12 years. I'm just going to drag it out. And of course it's in Ingham County. They sue him in Ingham County. So here's a guy that drives out of Baraga, right, to come down. Oh, wow. Exactly.
So shitty.
Right. But here's a guy that's going to drive out of Baraga to Ingham County. Oh, you know what? This has been delayed a couple days. Well, what am I supposed to do? Wait a minute. I got to get a hotel and do all that stuff.
So wrong.
And it's the same thing. That's wrong. So, when I talk to them, I'm like, I understand. And I agree with you. Things are more expensive. We need to get you some revenue. However, it's fiduciary is the word. I don't feel like you're spending the money in the best way. Mm-hmm. So, what is it? Peanut the Fawn? What's the this is like in the last 2 weeks.
Okay. In the last 2
there's
weeks.
a wild, like down in Clarkston or something.
Okay.
And it's a wildlife center, and they had saved us, and they missed like a deadline. So they have a federal permit to have these animals, and it was a fawn, and they nursed it back to health. I think it was Peanut the Fawn.
Okay.
Right? Whatever,
Okay.
Nope. You missed a deadline on that. We have to euthanize Peanut the Fawn.
They're killing Almond Joy.
And they're going, and I'm just thinking, it's in a fenced enclosure, and it's what This.
What are we talking about?
This is not our battle. They have a coyote that was like 12 years old, and it was blind, and it got hit. So they brought it in. They've rehabilitated this coyote, and it's lived there its whole life. Nope, you got to put it down.
Cap it.
I'm like,
you have to. Government said.
This is not our fight. This is not.
And who's sitting on the edge of their seat ready to go like, just waiting. We got to kill.
And it's today. Go get him.
But it's one. This made it to the governor's desk. We're working on an 83. Oh yeah, seriously. If you want to upset people, kill Peanut the Fawn, right? What was the squirrel out in New Jersey?
Oh yeah, that's huge.
That's
right.
what I was thinking of.
Yeah, no. It's Peanut the Fawn in Michigan. It made it to the governor's desk. There was like 40 of us that signed on to this letter, and of course people are like, really, this is what you have to work on.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, well, it took me like 4 minutes to I want to be part of this.
Yeah.
It made it to the governor's desk, and the governor.
Unfortunately, it has to be because of these idiots.
Right. But it's one of those. I understand you need more. I haven't answered your question yet.
That's okay.
I recognize I have not answered your question. I understand we need more revenue. Yes, let's talk about that. However, I think we're spending money on things we shouldn't be spending money on. Mm-hmm. We're not going to worry about the federally licensed Wildlife Rehabilitation Center in Clarkston. We're not going to worry about that. And we're done. It's actually, the pig farmers in.
Can you give a rough overview of that? Just a quick one.
On the pig farmers?
Mm-hmm. I know it, but I.
Russian boar. So.
No such thing.
No such thing. Right. So they said this is a different species. The DNR biologist comes in and said, this is an invasive species. It's a different species, and you can't have it because they'll get loose. Awesome. So the next question is, well, can you define that?
Mm-hmm.
We're in a court of law. Can you define that?
What a Russian boar is.
Right.
It's a male pig in Russia.
Right. And it's one of those, well, it's hairier. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I have a Newfoundland dog. He's pretty hairy. Does this mean that we can have German Shepherds but not Newfoundlands? They're all dogs. Yeah. These are, wait a minute. They're the same species. They just look differently.
And any DNR official should know, or any biologist should know, that if you let any pigs go,
right,
how quickly they become
feral.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, their hair grows, their patterns change.
Right.
Yeah, their teeth grow. It's crazy.
Right. They don't realize how smart they are. So there are 4 or 5 pig farmers in the UP. And these are salt of the earth. And these are the guys, man. If you want to go have a good time, we're going to go up there. And they have been sued. Matter of fact, they did an undercover sting. So 2 undercover. I know.
How much money are we wasting on this?
Right.
You don't get to have money then. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, and it's not just, so they showed up. I'm drawing a blank on the gentleman's name. Uncle Ted knows.
Yeah.
I think we brought him in to talk about the pig farming. And again, it's off the rails.
Yeah.
They did an undercover sting. They sent in 2 DNR officers. Of course, they had cameras. Hey, our wives are hunting, or our wives are shopping in Marquette. We had a day. We just want to pay for cash. We don't want our wives to know about this. So they do this. They do the pig, and they take. We went. And
so they're going there to do a hunt.
These
guys are these
we
undercover sting operators want to pay in cash for a hunt because you can pay to hunt this farm that this guy has in this enclosure.
Right.
And they lied and said they didn't want their wives to know about it. That's how they got in.
Yeah. No, right. Thank you. So they shoot the pig and they take the pig. Okay. That's kind of the deal. Congratulations. I hope, you harvested this animal. It's your animal. They take it. But you can't explain that it's a different species. It is not. It is not a different species. Again, it might be hairier and it might be a little uglier than somebody else's pig.
It might be a variation.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I have a hairy dog at home and you're not welcome to come shoot it.
Right.
Some deer are more brown. Some deer are
There
more
we
gray.
go.
That doesn't mean...
Correct. I'm taller than you are. I hope we don't have a tall, goofy white guy season. I'm not going to do well in that situation.
Our office will do fine.
Yeah, it's
yeah, we're not a tall group.
Yeah, it'll be a low speed chase. So anyway, comes back. But what gets me, what really fires me up, this has been going on for like 12 years, and they have put some people out of business, and some of these people are like, no, this is my home. You're not going to take it. You're not going to do it. And the DNR gets to the point where we're going to come to your farm and we're going to put them down.
Now, how much you talking?
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
this is this isn't going to happen. So again, the sheriff, I think it was
what country are we in at that point?
The sheriff of Baraga County gets involved. Hold on a minute. Let's see the court order before you show up and start taking his property. Well, it didn't happen. That we've not gotten there. We're back to the DNR
There's
spending
plenty of
money.
other examples, especially in Texas right now, that you can point to where it has gotten there.
Yes. So until you can give me the biological answer, define this different species. Are we going to do a DNA test and we're going to have these pigs and give me the allowable pigs and the non-allowable pigs? My daughter did 4-H for years, so I know what a Hampshire and it looks like, but these,
and explain to me why they're more likely to get out than other pigs.
Right.
And why that would be more harmful than other pigs getting out. Because if you know anything about the biology of a pig, it's going to turn feral no matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So so can no one have pigs? And and then you don't need guns either, and you don't need what is this?
Right. But again, if you turn your dog loose, we've all had barn cats that they don't like to be petted. This is a feral cat, but it's the same species as the cat that sleeps at the foot of my bed.
This is more homely.
Yeah, right. But it might be. So these pigs in the UP, they're bigger and hairier. They're a little bit uglier, but they're all still pigs. Where I'm going back to, the DNR does a good thing. I like the stocking the fish and the games. I understand you need revenue. You could help me get
the managed
there.
Waterfowl areas are incredible.
For sure. The fish stocking.
Shout out John Darlin. I hope you don't hate me after all this.
Nice.
Yep.
I could get there easier. I don't want to vote for a fee increase, but I could get there a lot easier if I could go back and say, no, they are spending every dollar to help hunters. They are doing this the best they can.
Right.
Be responsible with the money you have
for
before
sure.
we give you more.
That is the definition of a fiduciary responsibility. You have to be responsible with someone else's money.
I mean, it was funny. So yesterday or day before, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I was like, this is something that I want to talk to Tom about.
Sure.
Is it okay to call you Tom?
Please.
Okay. I was like, something I want to talk to Tom about. And I go, but I want to vet my process in my head with you two before I rope you into saying this is our opinion.
Sure.
And I typically do that.
So it came out of the Senate. Bills can either originate in the Senate or they can originate in the House. And, of course, they have to go to the other chamber, simple majority, and then they go to the governor. So now it comes over to the House. It's a little bit of an aside story. I think all of our stories have been.
Yeah.
That's right.
You're fun to talk to.
Representative Borton, Ken Borton, is north of me. I'm embarrassed. I don't know his district. 103rd, whatever. But he has Roscommon County. He has, Crawford County. Ken Borton was ticketed 3 times. He runs, and this is not a pitch, so I'm sorry if I'm snowman cam. So his wife has a camera in a stationary, it doesn't move, and it sits on a wooden snowman, but he's up in the Gaylord area, so they get a lot of snow. So come Christmas, she might dress it up as a snowman, and she might dress it up, and this is kind of his wife's thing. Brenda is a lovely person. Everybody likes Brenda, Snowman cam.
She probably makes cookies.
Yes. She is like, oh my, I want to be like Brenda when I grow up. They have a bird feeder. Well, okay. You know where I'm going with this. He gets a ticket from the DNR off of his snowman cam. You're baiting deer. I'm not baiting deer.
What?
I'm not baiting deer. Yeah. We have video. We have your video of it. Now, this is 8 years ago. Take him in. He wins. Comes out.
He never forgot. That's me.
3 times. 3 times this happens, right? So now it upsets him so much. So one of my favorite lines in my life, and I've used it on my kids, I've used it on my employees, I've used it on the players that I coach. Do something or say nothing. Do something or say nothing. Don't go on Facebook and write this strongly worded post. That does nothing. Do something. Go to a meeting. Contact your representative. Do something or say nothing. Well, Ken Borton said, okay, I'll do something. I'm going to run for, yeah, right. So Ken Borton runs for office, and now he is the representative in charge of the DNR's budget.
Oh, wow.
Honestly, you can't make this stuff up.
I want a handwritten apology.
And so then we start the year off. So now
I got to meet him.
Flash forward to 2025. We start the year off, and we read in the newspaper that they're going to lease 400 acres of state property for a solar farm. And we can get into why we have to do this solar farm. Ken goes to them. Hey, not only is this in my district, I represent 48 townships. I think he's in like the 52 township area. It's based on population. He's like, this is in my township. You could have told me. You've handled this really poorly. You know how to get a hold of me.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. And they're doing, and it really didn't go well. I mean, it really didn't go well. Okay. You want more revenue. You being the DNR, you're leasing this land because you want the revenue. I understand that. This was handled really poorly. I don't know if this is legal or not, because I don't know how we can go to the state of Michigan. How can I go to people and say, well, yeah, we leased a bunch of land that you're not able to hunt on anymore. Well, wait a minute.
That's our land.
You're charged with managing this land for the population of the state of Michigan.
We didn't approve that.
Wait a minute. Yeah. Now it's one thing you say, well, okay. Everybody take a breath. We're not going to do that. We're going to step away from this lease. And, well, of course, the company's name comes out, and it was just overwhelming. Missy Hoytinga, I don't know if you know her or not, Senator Hoytinga, you guys would love her. She's a better hunter than I am. She's more patient. Tenacious.
Sleep out there.
Tenacious. Well, there you go.
He goes, that's my problem.
Yeah, right. I sleep. I come back well rested.
I wake up at noon. No,
yeah. Missy is tenacious. Senator Hoytinga is tenacious. She's going to go to war. I mean, she probably gets social media like you guys do. She'll put a post up just on, I had eggs for breakfast and get 1,000. Oh, well, okay. You know, whatever. I split the atom and I get 10 people. 3 of them are my mom. Whatever. Senator Hoytinga goes out. This is not going to happen. And it explodes. I mean, it just goes off, and the name and the company, and now the company's getting backlash, and everybody's like, none of this is good. None of this is good. So I understand the DNR needs revenue. Well, we're not going to lease state land for this solar panel. Number one, I think that's that's a pipe dream. I don't believe that's a viable option. How do you want to do it? So let's talk about that. How do you want to do it? How are we going to spend our money? But I need to go back to my people and say, okay, the DNR is not going to do, here's their attorney fees. We're not going to do that anymore. We're not going after Peanut the Fawn. We're not going to go after, I can't believe I forgot the pig farmer's name in Baraga. I apologize. We're not going to do that anymore. Screen. There you go. Thank you. Ask Ted. He'll know. Yeah. So, then I could say, so do things cost more than 2014? Yep. Let's talk about it. Let's do this. I'm not in love with the idea of, the base license and do all this other stuff. If we could spend it on protecting, we're stocking, we're doing these things, yeah, you might be able to get me. What's a deer license? I don't remember. 15?
It's 40?
40 for the combo.
Well, for the combo.
40 or 45 for the combo. Something like that. And then
and
then the doe tags, it's either like 10 or 5.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. But combo is base license.
Mm-hmm.
Does it come with that, or do you have to
you have to buy a base license?
I know that. I mean,
base license and the two.
You do get 2 tags.
2 tags.
Yeah, got it. So right, and okay. And the base license is just because we can, right? Oh, by the way, there's a convenience fee and there's a Friday fee.
Yeah, we didn't always have that.
No, we didn't always have that.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay. So that is a long answer to. I understand they need more revenue. I understand this has not increased since 2014. However, before I can get there,
combo is 40, deer is 20.
You lost me there.
Singular deer is $20.
That would be a singular buck tag, I believe.
Yeah.
And then
the combo is 40. What a savings.
Deer antlerless universal is also $20.
Right.
And
one of the things I liked is, they're going to raise the rate. So I think they're going to go from like 20 to 25. Yeah.
I don't know.
That was the proposal.
Yeah.
I think there was going to 20 to 25. You're like, I don't like it, but come on, $5, you're going to get me. But they're going to make doe tags $5. They're going to take the doe tags from 20 down to 5. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, same thing. Whatever you encourage, you're going to get more of. Whatever you raise the rate on, you're going to get less. So are we going to get less hunters? We're getting less hunters now. I'm 54 and I'm below average in age.
No, you're almost that number.
Almost. Hey, we're there.
You're almost my statistic.
There you go. I know a guy. So help me feel better that we're spending the money that you have to do what we need. Yeah. Let's do the survey. I love that. And I like, we need to get out, okay, doe tags are going to be $5. And here's how we can do that. So
I also think there needs to be like, jumping into it. So number one, I couldn't agree with you more, is like, I will tell you this, on social media, I had no shortage of probably 30 to 35 people reach out to me specifically saying, you need to say something about this and tell them not to raise the tags.
Okay.
Now not one person saying that you should get them to raise it. So that's
okay.
one thing.
Right.
So then
it's not popular. Nobody wants to pay more.
So then I look at that and I say, okay, number one, hunters are special. We look back and we have something called like self-excise tax when we buy hunting equipment and ammunition. Self-excise means we as hunters came together and said, let's do this to ourselves.
Yeah.
And
goes in a separate pot that can only be used. I love it.
Yep. And we decided it. How beautiful is that? Mm-hmm. And then we came together and we said, you know what else? So keep in mind, you buy hunting or fishing equipment, that money will go into a pot. There's like a self-excise tax built in it. So you don't see it on like your receipt, but it's built in there for the manufacturers. Mm-hmm. And then that pile of money is supposed to be used on, our natural resources and those sorts of things. So you've got that pot, and the hunters actually decided we wanted it. And that's beautiful because it's somewhat rare. So that is kind of how we tend to approach things and think about things. Now, when it comes to licenses, I believe that there was a point in time where we shared the same sentiment with the Department of Natural Resources that I shared when I first started, is we shared that same sentiment is like, yeah, we buy our license and tags and stuff so that we have animals. What's the number one comment? I'm not even going to tell Ryan what it is. He's going to tell me what it is. What's the number one comment we get when I talk about the Department of Natural Resources or licenses or the posts that we talked about when we're going to have to buy them because they're going to quit sales? What's the number one thing?
Crazy.
It would blow your mind. This surprises me.
It's psycho. They go, I don't even buy a license anymore.
Oh.
That's very...
They're admitting it online.
So I'm telling you, from thousands of comments, that's what I'm seeing.
Wow.
And where they say it the most is the platform that everyone just says whatever they want, no one cares about anything, is TikTok. The comments on TikTok are people saying, what idiot buys a hunting license anymore? So here's the problem with that for me.
That's okay. Well, let's get into buying licenses. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do not encourage that, by the way.
Of course. So that's the number one comment that I'm seeing. So what does that tell me as a hunter who grew up wanting to support the Department of Natural Resources because I want there to be sustainable deer herds, and I want there to be pheasants and turkeys, and I want lush woods and beautiful forests and fish in the rivers and streams, and I want things clean and beautiful so future generations have it. And I want poor people to be able to hunt. I want that. Because every other country, it's the opposite. I just got back from Scotland, you better be rich. I just got back from Africa, you better be rich. I want poor people to be able to harvest food
because they're invested in it then.
Exactly.
It's important to them, yes.
So what does this tell me with the number one comments are, let's not raise it. And then the other comment is, why would you buy it anyways? So those are our two biggest comments out of tens of thousands of comments on our posts. That's what we're seeing the most of.
Wow.
So what does that tell me? That tells me that the Department of Natural Resources has a PR problem beyond belief. So you are a state representative, and you sat here and said to me, Kyle, I would like to help them, but here's how they're wasting a bunch of it. So now they have to get in line in order to not waste it. That sentiment from you all the way down to the guy with no teeth on TikTok that said I'm an idiot for buying a hunting license, all the way in between, everybody walk of life in between has all come together, and they have a problem with the Department of Natural Resources. Now, I might be part of that problem because I've demonized him with the goose gas chambers and things like that. But here's the thing. Nobody wants to help the DNR more than me. I'm actually convinced of that.
Okay.
So I love them. I want to help them. And there's some COs and some biologists that are there, such as John Darwin. And while misguided, I think, on some things, the woman that we had on our podcast, Caitlin, there's people that I care about that work there that are actually genuinely good people that I believe want good. However, we've gotten so far away from that nobody trusts them anymore. So for me, this is what I would do. I would clean house outside of the biologists. I would bring in new people whose goal is to listen and to hear hunters and honor their wishes. And I would bring in a Doge-like group that would clean up the wasteful spending on things that they shouldn't be spending it on. I would put me in charge of the PR, but I would put I would 100% change the entire PR campaign. I would change how we decide what we work on by implementing what Idaho does. And then I would Doge the crap out of everything and have the public vote on what we should actually be spending the money on. Then we reassess what the budget is. Then we increase it if necessary, decrease it if necessary, run it efficiently, run it so that, because at the end of the day, their job is to work for us to make sure that there's beautiful deer herds, beautiful turkey. You wouldn't say herd. I don't know what you'd say. A lot of turkeys.
Flock.
Thank you. Yeah, flocks of turkeys. You want
Flock
skies filled with
right.
waterfowl.
Flock you. Yeah.
You don't want the Lake Erie to be on fire. You want clean water. You want that's what they're supposed to be working on. And the truth is, hunters are people that are willing to have a self-excise tax, but we're not willing to increase spending on stuff that has basically created a police military force. And to me, those are the steps that would have to take place in order for me to vote on an increase. And sounds like you too maybe not everything I said, but they would have to prove their budgets to you. And I think that's what they have to start doing to the public, and we need a complete revamp on that, because I think that's the only, because you give them more money now, they'll ask for more money next year, ask for more money next year, ask for more money next year.
Yeah, every department.
And
nobody came to us and said we want less money.
And ever.
So, right.
And they'll spend it how they want. Well, I think we have to get back to the fact that they actually have to spend it how we want. And I think we've gotten away from that quite a bit.
So let me jump in. I think the vast majority of COs do a great job. If I had bad, so I used to be an official before I got involved in politics. I did basketball and hockey officiating, 20 seasons, and I don't think there's better practice for politics, because you're gonna you're gonna go you're gonna get yelled at, right? This half the room, nope. Now this half the room.
I was an umpire for 4 years, so I can.
There you go. You understand that. So have I had bad days? Have I called bad games? Absolutely. Have I missed calls? Without a doubt. Without a doubt. It got to the point, I was doing college hockey. I felt like I was good at it. And I still remember, it was my last season. I was doing college hockey. The next morning, somebody called, hey, the ref called in sick. We have a 10U game. So I went from doing a college hockey game to doing 10U. And the parent up in the stands is yelling at me. And I'm thinking,
You know where I just came from?
Yeah, like 12 hours. I'm making $18, by the way. And
I don't hate your family specifically.
Right, and your kid is not going to the NHL.
Yeah.
So, anyways, before you come, so it's gonna. Well, it is. So, I don't know. Uncle Ted talks about the kid with the bow case. I don't know the situation there, and I think we always have to start from a point of grace. Is could it have been handled better? Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. Attitude comes from leadership. That's my favorite line from Remember the Titans. Attitude comes from leadership. Okay, we need to start at the top. And we could say this about anybody, public servants. We are public servants. When you walk into the Secretary of State's office, my father's 85 years old, drives, does great, 85 years old. If you say, hey, I need you to make an appointment on the Secretary of State's office. Hold on, I got a phone, but that's about the extent of my thing, It's still customer service. So when you walk into the Secretary of State's office and Claire, come on, and they're saying, well, if you don't have an appointment, we can't see you today. Now wait a minute. We're still public servants. I've always said, don't tell me what you can't do. Tell me what you can do. Mm-hmm. Let me help you make an appointment. Let me help you do this. Sure. Now there might be 10 people. I can't get to you. Okay, that's fine. Back to the DNR. What can you do? What can we do to get there? I do think there's a little bit. So, and I want to touch just a little bit. When we talk about insurance, I did that post in front of Jay's. The Poet family are wonderful people. I did get permission, by the way. I'm in their parking lot, and I call them like, hey, do you guys mind if I shoot a video in your parking lot? And they're like, oh, whatever, dude. Well, they know I'm not going to talk bad about them. They're wonderful people, do great things for the community. This was late September. And we were looking at a government shutdown. Mm-hmm. We were looking at the state of Michigan, a government shutdown. And the DNR had told me, one of the colonels of the DNR had told me, if November 1st comes around,
October 1st.
October 1st, excuse me, thank you. It's an online license sales. It's not the old book anymore where they flip the book open and the guy at the gas station can sell you a license, the old one. He's like, DTMB, Department of Technology and something, and budget. Again, we like a thing. He's like, they are not critical employees. So if we shut the government down, they're going to turn the light off and walk out. That's our online licensing. He's like, we don't want to be punitive, but I'm telling you.
We don't want to be.
We might not be able to sell licenses October 1st. Same thing with the state parks. If you remember the last shutdown in like 07, 8, 9, they went around.
I was 8 years old.
Okay.
I don't remember.
They went around at midnight telling people they had to leave the state parks. Nope, parks closed. The state shut down, parks closed. I'm like, now you're just trying to be a jerk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now I could see it. Hey, you got to check out today because we're closing the state park. But that was my point of you might not be able to buy a budget October 1st. I think you will. And here's the really interesting part. Let's say we shut the budget down for 7 or 8 or 9 days. Okay, great. It doesn't just miraculously start back up. Once we pass a budget, then it goes to the governor. She has to have 4 or 5 days to review it. It's 1,600 pages, $82 billion.
Yeah,
that's
and
not
it's not an audiobook form yet.
Right, yeah. Then it has to go to Department of Treasury to get the check. So, hey, this could take a couple days to get the machine rolling again,
Then ChatGPT.
Right, yeah, nice. Summarize.
Yeah.
Where I'm going is people were telling me the same thing. I'm not going to buy a license. And my comment was always the same. First of all, I encourage you to buy a license. It does good things. Number
Agreed.
two, that is incredibly cheap insurance. Incredibly cheap insurance. Because if you shoot a deer and you don't have a license, now you stand before the judge and say, well, I didn't buy a license. Well, give me your gun or give me your four-wheeler or you can't hunt for 4 years. Your 3 or 4. I don't know what the fines are. And then if you go do it, this could be really bad. And for $20, come on, man. Right. If you're making a moral stand that I won't buy a license because it's whatever, that's fine. But understand the risk.
Yeah.
And if you stand before a judge and you don't, I will not help you. You've made that decision to shoot a deer without a license.
Right. He's just fixing the camera.
Oh, like I did. I offend you with that?
No.
It wasn't the your mama jokes. It was the deer license. So that's what I'm saying.
He takes the mom jokes serious.
Yeah, right. Wow. Yeah, you didn't referee hockey, did you?
Yeah. For me, it's like this on that post because it was this is how we got to know each other.
Yeah.
Was I saw your post,
mm-hmm.
and a lot of people actually took it as I was taking a shot at you, but I wasn't. My actual approach to it was, I don't like the. First of all, while we're in Scotland, people are buying Greenway gear merch from our website without a problem, and then when we get home, we ship it out. No issue there, no issue whatsoever. That's an automated system, and while that one person may walk out and click off the light because they're not. You do not actually have to shut it down because the people at Walmart can still sell me a hunting and fishing license.
Right.
They said they don't want it to be punitive. That's bullshit.
Right. Well, because what are they going to do? They're going to shut down the rest areas. Like she's going through, she being the governor's, listing it. I'm like, well, why would you shut down the rest areas? Because it's very visible. It's visible.
Yeah.
I want you to
political.
see.
Oh, she's making a commotion of it.
I want you to
What they
see.
did, those dirty
Right.
Republicans.
Right. So, and look at, oh, by the way, the federal government's been shut down for 23 days, in case anybody's counting.
Yeah. Yeah. Has
Nobody-
it impacted your day yet? No.
Are you asking me?
No,
not
yeah,
yet.
yeah.
But it's coming. So the governor just announced they're going to suspend SNAP, supplemental nutritional program, starting in November because of the federal shutdown. Like, what? Wait a minute. So they said, well, the state of Michigan did that. No, the state of Michigan, the legislature didn't do that.
Yeah.
The governor made that decision, and I think it's a terrible decision. What's the number? What do we need to come up with? Do we need to find a couple $1 million to do this?
So let's stop food programs for single moms in order to stick it to Republicans. What is that?
Because this
The
is
optics.
the optics. The optics, exactly.
That's disgusting.
Yeah,
when we talk about a millage, I keep interrupting you. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're fine.
When we talk about a millage, what's the first thing they say? We're going to get rid of police and fire. Because it is nobody's going to stand and argue against a firefighter. Nobody's going to do that. Come on. They don't say that, oh, by the way, we're not going to sue pig farmers in Baraga. That's a different thing. So they want to make it visual. That's why we're going to shut down rest areas and state parks, not because we're not going to save a bunch of money. It's very visible.
Yeah, there's a it is extremely visible. So, yeah, think about it. She says, well, they're not passing the bill, and the Democrats blame the Republicans, the Republicans blame the Democrats. So then the government, they shut down the rest areas, and they get to say, well, there's nothing we can do about it. The DNR, now the Department of Natural Resources is coming to him and everyone that thinks like him and saying, we want to increase budget. He's saying, well, how are you spending the money right now, and what would you spend it on? They go, hey, if you don't figure this out, license won't be for sale, and it'll be your fault.
Right.
And that's what people will see. So that tries to squeeze him to do what they want so that, that otherwise he's going to look bad and not get reelected, which is what a lot of people are worried about, is getting elected again.
Yeah.
So they have to take that into account. You were talking about your exact quote. Say it again, please. Leadership determines...
Attitude, attitude comes from leadership.
Attitude comes from leadership.
Yeah.
I always say around here, and even...
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, by the way. No, I'm
What's
I'm glad you brought that up.
yeah. Ryan's like, finally.
Right.
No, for me, it's more along the lines of, I call it developing my filters. So every time something comes across my desk, it goes through a filter. Number one, is it good for my team? Is it good for my people? Is it good for the brand? Is it good for this? If you start dating a girl and now she's your girlfriend, everything that you look at, as far as girls at the gym or going here or going there, everything goes through a different filter now. You're trying not to. You're not going to ask a girl out. Everything goes through another filter now. And for me, I think that the filter system for the Department of Natural Resources needs to overall be changed. It's like you said, could it have been handled better? But if everything goes through this filter, meaning we are serving the public so that there's more wild game, clean water, and whatever the filter is, everything you do in the field now has to go through that filter.
Right.
How you handle every situation goes through that. And to me, that's what I think needs to happen from the top before I would ever go. Because as of right now, we are 100% sure, verified, and confident that there's waste.
Yes.
So you don't get more. You have to solve that first. And they say, well, it's not waste to us. We want to militarize. We want to go after those pigs. We want to get that kid for that bow case. We want to make sure people have life jackets, even though the only one they'd be hurting is themselves. We want to we want to spend our time doing this. It's like, okay, well then we want all these attorney fees. We want all this. Well then you don't get it. And like that's where it comes to. Now keep in mind, I want to say this. There is nobody on the planet that would be more eager to vote for an increase in license costs than me if I thought it would help the good. Because I've got a problem that I want to tell you about that's coming.
Okay.
This is the problem nobody's going to tell you in the hunting and fishing industry, and I don't know why. I seem to be the only one who's identified it. Here's the biggest problem with Michigan and a lot of other states is we are selling less hunting and fishing licenses.
Right. Demographics.
However, we are more crowded in the field. And this is why. The people that are buying hunting and fishing licenses now are diehards. They're in the field 60, 70, 80 days a year.
See.
So a duck hunter now, when I say, are you a duck hunter? It isn't, yeah, I went duck hunting 3 years ago like it used to be. Now it's, I go duck hunting. It's a 60-day season. I'm out there 52 days.
I see. This is who I am.
So this is who I am. Now, that culture has grown so much that the people that hunt and fish, I'm one of them. I'm that person.
Yeah.
I'm in the field so much doing everything. I do turkeys, I do ducks, I do geese, we pick morels, we do syrup. I go to the managed waterfowl area and I see all these huge parties and stuff like that. Things are more crowded. And the overall thought process of hunters in the field right now, and I'll tell you this from tens of thousands of comments, is that it's getting crowded, which is crazy because when we release the numbers, the amount of involvement is going down. So what does this tell us? There's actually, and that for the DNR, they know this. They know there might be less hunters buying licenses, but I would argue on any given day there's more hunters in the field. Okay. Right now.
Okay.
So that's the truth, and no one's talking about it, and no one really wants to because it's always like I grew up like but started this company on the merit of wanting to sell more hunting and fishing licenses to not push families from hunting, and we talked about the deer hunting and that sort of thing, and I think deer hunting, those hunters are, that's unique because a deer hunter, especially the people that are diehards, aren't shooting a buck every time they go out. They've got a target buck that they're going after. Where this really impacts is geese, ducks, grouse, turkey, fishing, yeah, those sorts of things. So that's where it really makes the big impact because we focus so much on deer hunting is why I think everyone's missing this problem. But that's the real problem. So if people feel that they're more pressed and that, like, even when we're in Idaho, we tried to fly into this remote river and a jump plane in order to film an episode for History Channel. The wildfires were so bad we couldn't see the land, had to bail out, go back, and then we just fished in town. We went to 30 different spots, and there was a fisherman at every last one of them. Okay?
Yeah.
And it was Friday. It wasn't even Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, this is a weekday problem, and we can't even get out. That's what hunters are actually seeing. So what does that tell me? That tells me that the hunters that are buying the licenses and tags now are spending more time in the field and possibly harvesting more game. I like to think they are not deer hunters, though, and I talked about why that's different. So because of that, I think it is an inevitable, it is inevitable that license costs will have to go up because there will continue to be less hunters, and the hunters that are there are far more involved in harvesting more game and doing more in the field. Therefore, license sales will have to go up to make up the difference of the people that are getting out of it.
Right.
So it's unique that there's actually less hunters, yet overcrowding is pushing some out.
I've got an awesome deer story. I have a buddy. He's a captain for Southwest. He's the guy in the blind with me. He had called, hey, where do you think I should hunt today? Where do you think I should hunt? And like, listen, I've been seeing good activity in that oak tree on the west side of the creek. I would, if you're asking me, I'd go to the oak tree on the west side of the creek. Awesome, So he calls me back. He's like, it's really funny. Somebody put a decoy out by the blind. Out by the tree stand. It wasn't me, dude. Whatever, Calls me back. He's like, hey, there's a deer tied up to the tree. I'm like, Denny, I'm at work. I'm getting my ass kicked. I don't know what you're doing. I don't have time for this, And he shows up like half an hour later with a 7-point that had been tied to the tree. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Well, have you ever been around horses? They have a distinct scent, but this deer had a rope around its antlers, and he goes, it had gone out, and like a dog, it wasn't tied to the tree, but it got tied up around a brush. It had got tied up around a brush.
Sure, an easier hunt. Yeah.
Right. And he goes, but the deer was kicking. I'm sorry, it was kicking the tree that the tree stand was in. Like he's like, I had to shoot the deer to get it. I couldn't get close enough to cut the rope. whatever. So we're trying to like, well, who's snaring deer? Who snares a deer? This isn't a thing, and we know everybody. We moved there in 71. I know everybody, It was a couple years later, and I get talking to a fireman. Across the street is Dr. Dunlop. They named the road. We live on Dunlop Road. They named the road after Dr. Dunlop, right? This guy flew bombers in World War II.
Very cool.
All right. I mean, this guy.
Good dude. He's not a state representative.
No, whatever. Yeah, no, he's smarter. He's smarter than that. This fireman gets telling me the story about how this deer fell into Dr. Dunlop's pool. What? Yeah, like 3 years ago. This
they got it out.
So he goes, a couple firemen show up. Hold on, I got a rope. And he goes, this deer was just out of breath. It couldn't get out of the pool. And he goes, it was just laying on the side, So he goes, we go up, and we put a rope over its antlers, and we pull this deer up out of the pool. We're like, I don't know if it's going to live and how long it's going there. And he goes, that son of a gun got up, shook once like a dog, and was gone. Huh. Well, 2 days later, my buddy's walking out to the blind. And it took us like 3 years to put the story. So he's like, hey, could you, how about you tie up a 10? Is it 10? Yeah.
While you're at it.
Yeah, right. He's like, we've never hunted inside of a fence, but you literally tied a deer up for me. So, that's funny. Yeah, but it took a while. I'm like, who snares deer with a rope?
Yeah.
Anyways,
I'll do
that's a good bit.
I'll do a quick jump off that is like
Please.
a quick summary of what it is, and then we'll jump into the bills. I think it's inevitable that hunting licenses are going to have to go up eventually.
Correct.
Because I think the hunters that are hunting are going to continue to go down, but I think the involvement of those hunters is going to continue to go up. And that's why I actually think you're in a unique position yourself. Putting in the new filters, adding holding the DNR's feet to the fire about revamping how they do things is so important right now, because once the hunting numbers dwindle enough, and then there's still going to be hunters that are involved, but once those numbers dwindle enough, their voices won't be as loud.
Right.
They won't impact elections, and then no one will be able to put the DNR in check again. We got to do it right now. Revamp, and by put them in check, I mean celebrate and love them with open arms.
Yeah, tough job.
By revamping the filter in which everything is done from the top down, by asking and involving the people and starting fresh with a brand new relationship with the hunters of Michigan, creating that culture inside that organization that will then always honor the hunters and fishermen before those numbers go down. So we're on a timetable.
So we talked about, yes, we are. We talked about, hey, we're going to shut the state government down. I'm going to close down the rest areas to make it visible. If the DNR doesn't get the funding, my opinion, this is speculation, we're not going to stock fish next year. Right? They're going to make it very public. We want to stock fish. You won't help me. You won't raise license fees. They're going to make it very public, or
while still doing bullshit lawsuits.
Well, there we go. We had to sell an extra 10,000 acres of timber this year.
Sorry.
What do you want us to do?
Right.
So
because they won't acknowledge the waste.
And I think we haven't got there yet. So I look at $20 for a deer license. That is a bargain. It's a lot of meat. That's a lot of meat, But and not just $20 for the right to hunt.
It's not about the right to hunt.
Right. I don't want to give them my grandpa's Remington that I hunt with. That would be my great fear, is I break some law and the guy's like, no, that's my gun now. Well, it'd have to be egregious. But to not get in trouble for $20, come on.
Yeah.
Come on. So buy your license.
For me, I say buy the license in the spirit of wanting the deer herds, wanting the wild turkeys, the pheasants, laws that make sense, all those sorts of things. And I think all of that is like, I buy my hunting license, and boy, do we, poor Jeff, that's his analytical job, because we travel so much.
Oh, wow.
We can't mess up ever.
Right.
Especially on accident.
Right.
Like, we cannot mess up ever, because everyone's watching.
Right.
So it's his job to make sure that we never miss anything. But with that, to me, when I buy a hunting license, it should be in the spirit of the same reason why we put that self-excise tax in place. And the problem is hunters don't get to feel that honor right now because of the waste and what's going on with
the excise tax is a percentage, isn't it?
Yep.
So, I have my elk one is a 300 Ultra. It's $110 for a box of ammo now. Mm-hmm. Used to be $50. That also means that the excise tax is paying double. Mm-hmm. Everything, the excise tax as a consumer, it goes up with inflation. I come back to, we haven't raised the rate since 2014. Mm-hmm. Everything is more.
Yeah,
except your cell phone.
It makes sense if you're okay with them
where the money's
exactly
going.
what
Right.
they're doing.
If where there's money.
The thing is, if I could go in there and run a Doge in there, and
Sure.
I decide
Sure.
that actually we're giving them too much because of the waste, and we should move all this extra money to fish stocking, or we should move all this extra money to here, because we shouldn't have spent so much money on a stupid lawsuit for no reason.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's where it comes to, is like, and at the end of the day, here's the biggest issue, and I have, and this is the one problem that, remind me of her name again.
Caitlin.
I had with Caitlin when we were sitting here. We were talking about sharpshooters coming in and shooting deer and all this, and the goose gas chambers and stuff. I said, what happens if 95% of hunters come together and say, we are against what you're doing? She goes, wouldn't change a thing.
Wow. Oh.
And it's on recording. I mean, it's in the video.
Sure.
And it's like, that attitude has to go.
We're gonna step back one level here. In 2022, they changed the law. It was a ballot initiative. I don't remember which proposal it was, but it used to be state representatives had 6 years. They were term limited to 6 years, and then you could transition to the Senate for 8 years. That was that was a law. And now they said, nope, you get 12 years. I don't care how you spend it. Spend 12 years in the Senate.
Oh, wow.
Spend 12 years in the House. I don't care how you do it. Oh, by the way, there's some financial disclosure. So there's a little something, everything there. What that does on the term limits is, it used to be if you ran across, if you got sideways with the department, they could wait you out. Right? So now.
Oh, so like, yeah,
right?
if
So,
it's only 6 years, DNR goes, okay, tough guy.
Right.
We'll see you in a few years when you're not in power anymore.
Let me get you that information. Hey, listen, it's October, deer season's coming up.
Oh
We can't possibly schedule a meeting until February. There's just no way.
Mm-hmm.
And then
you're gone.
Whatever you ask me in February, wow,
I can't do that till August.
Let me get you that information to compile it, And I'm not just picking on the DNR. Pick DHHS. And there are still the bureaucracy.
That's what they don't tell you about the term limit.
That's what they tell you about the term limit. So I always say,
Wow.
I get a job review every election. And if you don't like the job I'm doing, then you vote for the other guy. That's how this works. Who does the DNR answer to? And it's almost not a rhetorical question. Who does the DNR answer to? And, the only thing we control is the budget. But when you only have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Well, the only thing we control is budget. So when we talk to them, I'm like, well, don't make me be the bad guy. I don't want to do this. But you have to answer to the legislature, and I have to answer to the voters. Everybody answers to the voters. It just gets up and down a couple, but
But other than budget, they don't really answer to
correct.
anyone.
The only thing we can do. So, was it Obama that says elections have consequences? Well, in 2026, we're going to have a new governor. Gretchen Whitmer is term limited out. She can't run again. We're going to have a new governor. The governor appoints the head of the DNR. Okay. This is, and I'm not, there are people running. I'm not even going to name names. I hope whoever the next, what's that? Oh, there you go. I hope the next governor has that customer service attitude. Hope they have that servant's heart of, we need a head of the DNR who is going to, we're done with the pig lawsuit. Great. Oh, Peanut the fawn is going to live until tomorrow. Great. Let's get back. Oh, I'm not making it up. There was a fawn and a coyote. I'll send it to you. Mm-hmm. It was a big deal. It made the governor's desk.
It's just so funny.
Right.
Sort of.
Yeah. Funny as in, Orwellian. But you're right. The license fees, there is a revenue issue. I understand that. If I was a DNR officer and I say, listen, your wages are based on whatever the price of a license is, and you haven't got a raise since 2014.
Yeah.
Well, that's not sustainable.
Right.
Everything costs more. Okay. I think we've ridden that one.
Yeah, I agree. Now, that said, go ahead, Ryan.
I was just going to say, what would be the best way as a normal person to try to facilitate some sort of change in the government other than voting, where it's like, I feel like I want my voice heard from the DNR more than it is now.
Sure.
Like what could I, sitting here now, what could I do?
That's awesome, because it goes right into do something or say nothing. Do something, you know. If you're not, I always ask people, did you vote? No, you can't complain. I mean, that's not a thing. But number one, vote. It's hard to determine. I actually asked the DNR, can you tell me, and we can make it anonymous, but I want to know the number of hunters who are registered voters.
It's not good.
It's not good.
It's not good at all. It's very low.
Right. This is terrible. And now it is so, they will literally mail you a ballot. You know, they will mail you. So number one, if I could plug anything today, register to vote and vote.
I got a question for you.
Please.
One of the reasons why people, at least in the national level, like Congress and stuff like that, they like ecosystem, species sustainability efforts. Like it's typically a very bipartisan thing.
Who's going to argue? Right.
Right. My question to you is, you're telling people to vote. Does it seem like it's becoming partisan? Like is everybody that you go to work with, are they all kind of agreeing with you regardless of left, right, center? Or is it like, yeah, the right wants to crack down on the budget, the left wants to pass whatever the DNR wants, and the middle doesn't say nothing? Like, is it a left-right issue now?
What is, like, voter turnout?
No.
What is? I didn't understand the question.
Wildlife.
The DNR overreach.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, this is what's amazing. One of my favorites, I will name names because he's a friend of mine, Representative Farhat. Alibis Farhat is a very bright young man out of Dearborn, and he's like 27, okay? So he could be, he's young enough to be my child. He's not. It's late. It's our first session. It's last year. We're in our first term, and it's 8 o'clock. We're waiting on a bill to come over from the Senate, and I do the most redneck thing. I get out my lunchbox. I'm going to have some venison salami, cheese, and crackers because I'm hungry. It's 8 o'clock, right? It doesn't take much to make me.
That sound good right now, though.
God forbid I miss a meal, you know. Alibis comes by. I'm sorry, I don't know the dietary restrictions of Muslims. Forgive me. I mean no disrespect.
Sure.
Can you join me? You're welcome to cheese and crackers, of course. Can you eat venison? You know? And this is the part he's like, where does that come from? What's that? You know, I'm like, we
didn't know what venison was.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not from Clare, are you? You know,
Yeah,
and I know that, you know,
right.
but I'm just like, well, then I'm like, yeah, it's a deer. We shoot them, you know, the cloven hoof. It'd be like beef. It's not pork, you know, cloven hoof.
Yeah.
Where do you get this? I'm like, I can shoot deer off my back deck, you know. What about your neighbors? And I'm like, we don't have neighbors. Like I can see my neighbor, but it's
Jim?
like 3/4 yeah, you know, but it's one of those things. And it's just funny. He's like, so you have guns. I mean, it's just he lives 2.5 hours away from me.
And a whole different life.
Different world, just a crazy world. So why do hunters need to vote? Because again, Alibis is very intelligent, but he lives in Dearborn.
Right.
You know, and it's funny. He asked a couple questions. Well, how many guns do you own? That's not your business.
Yeah.
That's you know.
More than you can count.
Yeah, right. I have a gun room, not a gun safe. I always tell people, do you want the number my wife knows about, or do you want the number?
I love it.
That's funny. He leans in. He's like, hey, do you have an AR-15? I'm like, why are we whispering? Number one? And number one, I don't have an AR-15.
I've got a collection.
Yeah, right. Again, it's not your business how many.
Right.
So why do hunters need to vote? Because people who are, again, Alibis Farhat, he's very intelligent, but this is not, you know.
He's not aware.
If the DNR comes in and says, you know what, we're going to get rid of muzzleload season.
He doesn't care.
Does anybody still, is that like a blunderbuss? I mean, what are we talking about? You know, and he wouldn't, I'd like to think I could go talk to him about this, but it's not an issue for him. Mm-hmm. You know, this is not an issue for him. And there are several, you know, intelligent people, but they just don't think about it. You have to vote. This is important. Our voices are not heard. Register. They will mail you a ballot. And I always tell people, my dad's 85. He gets the ballot, takes a couple days to fill it out. Mm-hmm. You know, hey, who do you like for the Wayne State Regent? Hold on, Dad. Let me, you know. And then he goes and hand delivers it back. So, yes, we have to vote. We have to be active. Otherwise, it's going to be one of those things where Yeah, I'm going to get rid of muzzleload season. Do we need a second turkey hunt?
You're right.
You know, do we need why do we shoot squirrels? Let's not have a squirrel hunt anymore.
How do you remain active outside of just voting though? Like
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry, that was a question. So number one, do something. People do not realize how much an honest email. Like we get form emails, you can tell it's cut and paste, and they'll spell my name wrong, whatever. Okay, and we always respond at the same level. If you send me a form email, you get a form response. You didn't read it, I'm not going to read it. Let's move on, you know. Call your representatives. Call them, email them, reach out. This is important to me. Here's why. This is, you know, I don't know. Can I talk to you about this? I'm meeting somebody on Monday. Never met him before. He's got an issue. I want to meet with you. Okay. Now I represent 95,000 people. I can't come to everybody's house for dinner. God, I'd love to try, you know, but it looks like I have. But yeah, you want 15 minutes for coffee? He's a weighmaster, and weightmasters are prohibited from carrying sidearms.
Oh, wow.
They are named exclusions. You may not.
Why?
That's what he said. I don't know. Hold on. Let me get with the state police and let me get with
bullets way too much.
Yeah, let me get with M. Coles. Nice. Let me get with M. Coles and everything. So number one, vote. Number two, contact your representative. And number three, you should know how they vote. It's amazing. I represent 48 townships in 4 counties. I have gone to meetings in every one of those townships, and it is amazing. These are good, salt-of-the-earth people. Some of my townships are 400 people.
Oh, wow.
Right. I mean, I have some rural. It's northern Lake County. Yeah. I mean, the township hall is on a dirt road. Am I painting a picture here for you? You know. And there's 5 or 6 people on the board, and there'll be 3 or 4 of us out in the audience. Like, people just don't go to the meetings.
Right.
You know, like it's one meeting a month. You ought to go. You know, we're going to talk about this stuff. So, it's so everything is public. Everything is public. So get involved. Go to the meetings. You know, people call me all the time. They complain about the school board. You know where I'm going with this. When was the last meeting you went to?
Right.
When was the last school board meeting you went to? I'm like, I tell you what, I'll pick you up. You up. We'll go.
You know what's funny is I recall my parents going to school
Sure.
board meetings as a child. Like I remember in elementary school, they'd be like, "Yeah, we're going to the school board meeting tonight." And I'm like,
Well, probably
how
with
does
a
that matter?
well with a student like you.
Yeah,
I can see
I was
that.
just gonna say it didn't
Yeah.
help you or Laurel.
Right. No, I'm joking. So you got to get involved, and it's not a nasty post on Facebook.
Right.
Come on, man, you're not even trying. I am amazed. So if anything, being in politics has moderated me, right?
Oh, interesting.
I went in thinking the world is black and white. It's simple. This is clear. I'm going to change the world, you know. And then you get down there and say, well, wait a minute. You know,
Right.
do I want to raise license fees? No, I don't like new taxes. Do I want fish stocking? Yeah.
You're right.
Well, okay. Well, now we're talking, you know.
Right.
So vote, get involved, go to meetings at every level. School board, you know, county, township. It's important. And it's amazing to me. Everybody I meet knows more about something than I do. Everybody. So when, you know, we're going to vote on a hunting regulation and I look around the room, 110 of us, 60 people in here don't hunt. And 70 people in here have never hunted a deer. That's just not a thing. So when we talk about hunting fees,
Yeah.
I don't doesn't affect me at all. Yeah, make it whatever you want.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I'm gonna for the 4th time I think, vote, contact your officials, and get involved. Go to meetings.
Contact them in a not like,
Yeah, right.
In a
like
real
robot way.
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, I officiated hockey. So if a coach would pull you over, and it's the same thing. Somebody pulls you over and says, "Hey, man, 23 has been hooking my guy all night long. Would you keep an eye on 23? He's really getting heavy on the timber." "Yeah, I got you, coach." "Sure." If the coach yells at me from across the rink, "Hey, you beep," and you're not beep, you know, and then they bring my mother into it, well, how do you think this is going to end?
Right.
Do not sleep with 23.
Right. But so where I'm going, you know, same thing. So when you call, and I love passion. I don't understand lukewarm people. That's not why God put us here, was to be lukewarm. But at the same time, how do you want to be talked to?
Right.
You know,
Right.
do I come in and say, "You're a freaking idiot.
Right.
You don't know what you're doing. Anybody who doesn't like the way I vote's a freaking idiot." Come on, man.
Right.
That's
Right.
not, so yeah, but do a personal email or a phone call or a letter. We get mail every day. So
Speaking of how people can get involved and
my mother's a saint, by the way.
Yeah.
So don't bring her up.
He's like, but yes, Mom. No, I'm just kidding.
Nice.
Nice. You've got 2 bills that
Yes.
you're involved in right now.
Directly.
And this is a great representation of what you're doing for people. Can you tell us what they are and kind of what your stance is on them?
You know what? This is embarrassing. I've forgotten the bill numbers. But so the open...
He might actually.
4421 and...
That's the EGLE one.
43 something.
Go ahead.
403. So the open fields doctrine. The open fields doctrine goes back generations, and I believe from my legal research, it starts with revenuers, moonshiners. So they would come on your property to see if you had an illegal still. Great. So
any of that shine.
Any of that shine, right. And I'm not opposed to shine, but, So now, now again, we make laws for the 10%. 90% of the people, you could say, go forth and do no harm. And I think 90% of the world would do fine. I don't think we need speed limits for 90% of the people. But there is 10%, like Kyle.
Hey, I got place to be.
Oh, there you go. Right. So what this does is it limits access. I am a private property rights advocate. This is your land. You own it. Not just your house. This is your property. So what both bills do, in Michigan, it's very clear. The Constitution says a bill can only do one thing. So there's no big, beautiful bill at the state level. If I say we're gonna lower the price on Fords and raise the price on Chevys, that is 2 separate bills. We're gonna outlaw '06s, only have 270s. Those are 2 different things.
You wouldn't mind mentioning Nosler and Ram, please?
Nice.
No, just give
I do shoot a Hornady Nosler 120 and a 270 if they wanted to. If you want a product review.
Got it.
Yeah. So, access. The DNR and EGLE, which is used to be the former DEQ, cannot come on your property without a warrant. That's it. The entire bill is 3 sentences. It is incredibly simple. This is private property rights. So
who's involved in not being able to come on the property?
So EGLE, the Department of Environmental Quality, used to be EGLE, and the DNR.
Oh, okay.
Right. So same thing. I have
2 different bills.
2 different bills. Absolutely 2 different bills. Absolutely.
One's
they
EGLE,
have to be.
one's DNR.
Correct. Different departments do the thing. So if you have a gate up on your property that says no trespassing, like the police cannot come on. Now, they call it exigent circumstances. If I see someone in distress, if I see, if the 2 of us are in fistcuffs, yes, they can come out and stop that. This is immediate harm.
Right.
But I have to see it has to be direct. There are certain circumstances. Your house is on fire. Obviously, they can come on and address that. This is where they do wonderful things. They get people out of burning houses. Okay, fine. EGLE. There's the story of the guy up in Frankenmuth who's had a pond for like 4 years, and they say, wait a minute. That was a wetland, and you disturbed it. Yeah, no, it wasn't. It wasn't a wetland. Well, the problem is, how do you prove a negative? Right. Once you disturb the earth, they're going to say, well, there was wetland, there were cattails there, and you took them out. No, I didn't. Well, how do I prove that I didn't?
Right.
It's done.
It's done. Right. So this is where, and the DEQ, they go out and they're looking this over and they're on your property. Wait a minute, you can't just come on my property. I want to extend it. Right now, they can't come in your house without a warrant. I want to extend it to your property. Mm-hmm. It's the 4th Amendment, unlawful search and seizures. Wait a minute. We should protect the private property rights.
It's your property.
It is your property, right? So it's funny. This went through committee, and some of the representatives, I believe she is from Hamtramck.
Oh boy.
Right. But it's one of those
very prevalent there.
Yeah, but she's like, well, what are you talking about? How is that an issue if you have a lot? Like, I don't have a lot. I own half a mile off the road.
Right.
And you shouldn't just be able to. It's kind of this foreign concept of what do you mean? So, listen, if you want to get in a plane and fly over my property, you can. If you want to stand on the road, and this has already been through court, anybody can stand on the road. Not even a law enforcement officer, not a state rep. Anybody can stand on the road and with binoculars look on your property.
Right.
That's legal. If it's visible from the public road, it's visible. Mm-hmm. You can't tell me not to look at your property. So what I'm trying to do, again, I'm not trying to shackle the DNR or the DEQ. But what I'm saying is, if you want to come onto someone's private property, you should have to go through the process of getting a warrant.
Mm-hmm.
You should go before the judiciary branch. You should go and stand before a judge, and now it's all public. If you go stand before a judge and say, I want a warrant to enter Tom's property, why?
Right. Now you have to explain yourself.
Explain to me why we're going to, I don't want to say violate my rights.
But we're going to postpone them.
Well, yeah, right.
We're going to postpone one of them.
Correct. Why? How is it that you're coming onto someone's personal property? What circumstance shows this?
Right.
He's deep in thought.
I'm wondering, could they come up and be like, hey, walk 2 acres into your property to your house?
Well, right now they can just walk right on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right, but I'm saying, if this was in place, if they're like, hey, someone came through on a 4-wheeler and they're investigating something.
Sure.
What is that allowed?
Well, again, this comes back to exigent circumstances. So first of all, driveways. I knock on a lot of doors. It's next year's an election year. My driveway is 600 yards, but I don't have any no trespassing signs. We don't have a gate. Come on,
Right.
I don't. So you drive back in. What can I help you with? But I don't have to answer the door.
Right.
No.
And I actually get that a lot. Is I will go knock on someone's door and they're like, just leave the flyer. Sure, you don't know me. That's fine. I'm not offended at all. You don't know me. I will leave the flyer. Thank you for your time. Hope you read it. You brought about the foiler. Hey, we're looking for a kid. There's a lost kid. That is an exigent circumstance. This is an immediate, we cannot wait.
Okay.
I cannot get a hold.
Someone's in danger.
Someone's in danger. Right. Time is of the essence. Bad things are going to happen if we don't find this kid right now. And I'm not going to be able to go to the judge and find out which property I might want to go on. Right? Now.
So it would.
But that's the same thing with a cop.
What?
If they come to your,
They can do that right
house
now.
right now,
Right
and
now.
they see you in the window beating the crap out of Jenna, they can bust through.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
And so that's a.
I don't do that, by the way.
They have
my
a great
money's on her.
relationship. Yeah,
They
it
work.
should be.
They
She's
work
an
things
ER
out.
nurse.
They work things out.
She's an ER nurse, so she can fix herself as she goes.
They'd never find your body, is what he's saying.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
But so for me, the
Right.
devil's advocate to this, I would assume from at least the Department of Natural Resources, is something along the lines of like, well, you're preventing us from doing our job.
Mm-hmm.
If we have to go get a warrant in order to go on to catch that guy baiting or whatever I want to get him for, and I almost think too your bill helps change that filter, by the way, a little
Yes.
bit.
Yeah.
I think it helps with the filter process, which is why I support it.
Like, is this worth it? Do I need to be putting my time into this?
Right? Is this how is this serving the people?
Yeah.
Now, if I stand before the judge and say, wait a minute, I witnessed Jeff buy a truckload of sugar beets at 2:00, and at 3:00 his truck was empty, and he went to his hunting property. Oh, okay. I can't
He
write it.
really likes eating sugar beets.
Right, I love sugar beets.
Why would you tell people that?
Sorry. It was carrots, by the way, Your Honor. But
And it was a big soup.
yeah, but the argument is, okay, I can't write a ticket off of that. That is circumstantial evidence, but it's overwhelming circumstantial. Yes, sure, we can get a warrant for that.
And
Did you witness this? Okay.
And to the point too is when we were talking prior, we're saying stand before a judge, and that may sound like a really long process, but most warrant processes
Minutes.
are minutes.
Minutes.
Yeah.
Like a phone call.
Right.
Yeah.
There's in the legal circles they call it, and I'm not giving legal advice. They call it the fruit of the poison tree. So if I come on your property, my kid is missing, or I'm helping, I'm with a search party, we're trying to find this kid, and I come across your bait pile, there's no ticket for that.
Because that's not what the
Right.
warrant was serving.
I came on your property because I'm missing an elder. Let's call it a silver alert. Right. I'm here for this reason.
Those are called silver alerts.
Silver alerts.
That's adorable.
There you go.
I love that.
Right. Like an amber alert.
Yeah,
You know where I'm going with that. Okay.
So you'd have to say that happened where they saw it, like saw the bait pile looking for this crazy old lady. What?
Why she have to be crazy?
Yeah, where'd
She
you
was
get
just
that?
confused.
No, she's psycho. She's crazy.
I know this.
You don't know her like I do.
So they see the bait pile.
Mhm.
They leave. They take care of all their how they'd have to watch you go get the sugar
Sure.
beet truck.
Sure.
Bring it to your. They'd have to explain how they got to this process, even though they knew the bait pile was there.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Same thing. So if they get a warrant, I think you have meth in your house. Okay. Well, they have to have
all the cats he has.
Well,
they normally no. Just
so they got a warrant to come in and search your house for drugs. Okay, and they find a 24-inch shotgun. 26 is legal. 24 is that permitted? That is not on the warrant.
That's not why they were there.
That is not on the warrant. You cannot prosecute for that.
No
now,
kidding. I didn't know that.
Right.
Can they then
well,
go
this
get a
tells
warrant
me
for that?
Well, how did you know it was there? Again, it's the fruit from the poison tree. You know, if they're questioning you and say, you know what, I want you always have the right to remain silent. I encourage people. What was the joke? I had the right to remain silent, but not the ability. Right?
I don't want this to get lost in because we're circling around
Yes.
and he's saying God knows what. So let's
Right. So that's what
pin this down real quick.
We are trying to protect private property rights. Every department, DNR, DEQ, should have to have a warrant to come on your property.
And I have a clear question on that. So my clear question is, currently, if the DNR just walks on your property because
Yes.
they think you might be baiting, they can.
Yes.
And if they find a 24-inch shotgun while they're doing it, they can go after you for it.
Yes.
So it isn't just about a warrant it isn't just about getting a warrant before they can step foot on your property. The bigger part of this bill sounds to me like it's actually protecting you so that they're not illegally coming on your property and then just trying to get you on stuff. That's what it sounds like to me.
Right. So, and the same thing, my driveway, we don't have a gate, so they're always going to be able to drive back to my house.
And
We'd like to search your house. No.
So
do you have a warrant? No. We'd like to search your property. Do you have a warrant? Well, right now they don't need it. What I'm saying is you should. Private property, our entire country is built on the rights of the individual.
Right.
Private property rights being one of those. This is not the king's land. This is not the queen's land. This is private individual properties. So.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree with that more. And I think it's awesome. How do you think it's being received, and do you think it'll pass?
Well, it passed out of committee. I hope it gets picked up at the House. You know, and even some of my colleagues from Southern Michigan that don't think. When I say I have 48 townships, they say, "Oh, I have half a township. I have one township that has 90,000 people in it."
Yeah.
It's a different. We live in different worlds. Gosh, but what about, are we going to inhibit them? And they asked this question. Well, is it going to make it harder? I said, I understand. There's gray area right now. You're coming up with situations of gray area. My position is anything that is gray should default to the individual.
That's your filter, though.
If we don't know, I don't know, should the government have this right or should the individual have this right? Well, if there's a question, it's got to go to the individual. That's conversation is over. So this is one of those, now if I own a lot in Hamtramck, well, you can walk all the way around the lot. You can see everything. There is no. But if I have 100 acres in Clare,
right?
Okay, that's a different. So if there is an unknown, if there's a gray area, it has to default to the individual.
If people want to support your bill, so thousands of people see this, if they're in Michigan and they want to support this bill, what can they do right now today?
Contact your representative. It should be up in the House this week or next. Okay. We're going to vote on it in the House.
This comes out Monday.
4420.
It was.
I love that Jeff is now his analytics guy.
Right.
I love it.
4073.
4073 and 40.
Is the DNR one. And
Talking to the mic, Jeff.
And then 4421 is the EGLE one.
Got it. So House Bill 4421 and House Bill 4073. These are the two. And contact them. And so you can, did I share my information with you? You can put my email up.
Okay.
If everybody wants to get a hold of me and then tell me where you live, I will send you, or here's the list of, here's how you find your representative. Okay. And what's funny, if you Google Michigan House of Representatives, it comes to a page and it asks for your address. Well, people are like, well, I don't want to tell you my address. They're asking your address so they know who your representative is.
Right.
They're
giving you the right person.
Right. Give them your neighbor's address if you want. Next door, I don't care. But right, you don't. So yeah, send an email.
I this is a little bit unrelated again. Sorry, but I've always wondered this about politicians. Do you think that with politicians, like they feel like they have to be doing something, so we end up always making these new laws just to look like we're doing stuff?
Absolutely.
When in reality, we could probably just sit around for a while.
Sure.
Or try and get rid of some.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, your bill that you're talking about is literally getting rid. Like it's
It's protecting
not
a right.
getting rid of
Right.
laws, but it's like shrinking them.
Sure.
You're like, it's a shrink bill.
It's interesting. It's a little bit concerning. People don't, they don't remember their high school civics. So I'll get questions all the time on federal issues. Nope. Let me transfer you over to Congressman Molinar. He can help you with that. Or, building permits. Nope. Now tell me where you live. I'll get you to the right township. We always try and help people out with that. But absolutely, everybody wants to go back and say, look at what I've done. Mm-hmm. What people don't realize is they'll say, I voted for a bill, or I this is my bill. To me, that's such a small nuance. If I'm lucky, I might have 2 or 3 bills. One of my bills this year is a road naming for a soldier that died in the line of duty. Right?
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we're not going to argue about that. It passed unanimously in the House and in the Senate. Of course it did. It's the Muskegon River Bridge on 131.
Okay.
So actually, the sign got put up yesterday. So
nice.
I'll see it.
Yeah.
I'm going up north today.
There you go. Yep. Sergeant Weber. So God rest his soul. Sometimes we have bills. Everybody wants to go back and say, listen, I'm doing a good job. You should send me back. Re-elect me. Mm-hmm. I'm doing a good job. But
what have you done?
Right. What have you done? Yeah, right. But nobody knows. I shouldn't say nobody. Boy, you're way off into the weeds. If I say, well, we had a good budget, we did road funding, we had something, we had oversight. To say that, well, I got a bill, I don't think people care.
Right, because it could be anything.
Sure.
It could be.
I voted for this bill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's enough.
That's interesting.
I can't thank you enough for coming on the podcast and having this conversation
you bet.
with
You
us.
bet.
And I think it's pretty well rounded. So people will know how to get a hold of you or a hold of their representative. They understand now how important that is. And I'll leave you with one little note at the end of this too, is we talked about the fact that there was not that many people at the representative meetings. We talked about how there's not a lot at the school board meetings. We talked about all those things. And you can look at that like, what's the point? Nobody goes. Or you can look at that like, man, my voice is going to be heard because there won't be that many people there. And I think I hope that isn't forever, but I hope that's how it kicks it off. And I hope that's how it starts. I remember our generation, my parents going. I remember a lot of other kids' parents going. And I think we have to get back into that mindset and, take back what's ours. But if you're a hunter, hunternation.org, Ted Nugent talks about it all the time. It's a nonprofit with the whole intent and goal of getting people. They don't tell you how to vote.
Nope.
They just want people that hunt, fish to get involved and start voting. So check out hunternation.org. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Greenway Outdoors podcast, and stay green. That's not a Green Party thing, by the way. That's just my last name. Follow the Greenway Outdoors on all social platforms for our weekly podcast, vlogs, how-tos, merch, and more. Powered by Dynamo CX. The Greenway Outdoors is brought to you by Ram Trucks. Nothing stops Ram. And by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Tracker Boats. Fish the finest. And by Eagle Fishing. Tactical fishing gear for the savvy angler. Consistency. That's what you aim for with every practice shot. So when you're out in the field, you get that same consistency every shot. With Carlson's choke tubes, consistency is what you'll get. Our choke tubes are long-lasting, high quality, and made right here in the USA. Carlson's choke tubes, pattern tested, hunter approved. Find out more at choketube.com.
Are you anxious to get going? Knowing that the clock is ticking and time truly is the most precious commodity in the world? Then you, my friend, are in good company.